We are Legion.
What is up, comic fan? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and I'm finally back for At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. And this week, especially, there is so much more to talk about, from Free Comic Book Day, New Comic Book Day, Titan Season 3, What If, Stargirl, Superman and Lois. It has been a huge, huge week, and we're going to get right into it. But before we do, check this out. That feels good to be able to hit that intro. So as a lot of people know, I've been out and not really putting up too much content. I was really sick for a while right after I got back from vacation. And there he is. Boom. My main man with pots and pans. The furry face in the orange circle himself. We've got new guy from the Cosmic Campfire. What's up, brother?
My bad. Wrong hotkey. Nothing much. Just been chilling and excited to talk about comic books and TV shows and everything else whatever's going to happen.
I do have to ask you a serious question before we go any farther. Do you smell that? It smells like my Canadian heterosexual life partner. Boom! Great White North. We've got none other than Chris, the comic vet.
That could be the greatest introduction in the history of Canadian introductions, man.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. More importantly, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Gravy train on biscuit wheels, my good sir.
That's terrific. That's terrific.
Real quick, I was just saying right when I started that I've been out for a while I was trying to do stuff and I think I even mentioned it to somebody. I recorded a couple of videos when I was sick, a couple of days before I decided to go to the actual and seek help for what was going on. I recorded some videos, and it was probably the worst I looked, looking at the videos, what I was putting out, and not just the content, but a lot of stuff were meant to shout out different companies or different individuals, with the stuff that I had. So it would have done a huge disservice to them as well. So I just didn't even post those, but those videos exist. So if and when I hit that 1K mark, that might be one of the first perks that members get is the uncut, unused footage, because it's the first time that I have some, and I think it would be pretty funny.
Release the Legion cut.
I smell something else. I smell books burning. Something must be in the press here. That means none other than Justin Comics himself is here.
Boom.
What's up, brother?
Appreciate y'all having me on. Thank you so much, guys.
You know, wide open door whenever you're available, my man. You know that.
Oh, man. I have been lazy all day, and it's felt so good. I am halfway done with season 1 of Titans.
Nice.
Watched What If.
Nice.
Watched Suicide Squad number 2 yesterday. And then I'm going to call it a reboot, even though I know it's a number 2.
Soft reboot. And then what else? And then just been pressing books, man. And then got a couple books set out before bedtime that I'm going to catch up on. So nice.
All is well.
Did you have a good Free Comic Book Day, everybody? Were you all able to get out and take advantage of the day?
I think so.
I knocked all the Free Comic Book Day. I got all the books on Wednesday, so I'm good. I didn't have to do anything yesterday, which was good. Yeah.
Oh, that is nice.
Ryan, did you hit up Free Comic Book Day?
No, I did not.
You didn't even get a copy of We Live?
Nuh-uh.
That was the first one I grabbed.
Yeah, I was like, kids, get out the way.
I have one on hold, but no, I didn't pick it up yet.
So you have a copy acquired, though. Okay.
I just haven't picked it up. I haven't been out.
That was such a great read. It was just a simple one-shot. It had a few little callbacks to what came before, covered new ground, and then it, rightfully so, just like it's supposed to, it shot you right through the heart. It kills it, man.
I'm excited. So is it a prequel?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's a prequel that focuses on a group of kids separate than Tala and Hototo. It's completely separate kids, but you will see a familiar face who loses his face.
I was hoping that we would see him.
Not in this book.
Yeah. You're waking me up. Well, you go to bed then, Superman. So Finn here starts school tomorrow.
Oh, lovely. What grade?
He's starting pre-K.
Nice.
So I'm still wondering why he's out of bed. Why are you out of bed?
Why you wake me up?
Were you asleep?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, but my eye was not so.
You were asleep with your eyes open? You were a psychopath. All
I
right.
hate when that happens.
It happens to me all the time.
Go, please. Bedtime.
Yeah, my youngest starts pre-K tomorrow as well.
Dude, big things happening. Big things happening. Well, real quick, before we go any farther, I want to thank the 17 people that are in the chat right now. And if you haven't already, please consider hitting that thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel. I'm roughly about 15 subscribers away from the 900 subscriber milestone. And then I'll start architecting the 1K event, which there's really big things already handled and acquired for that. I'm hoping to do something really major, have some big boy books to give away and some awesome art stuff as well. I'm just really looking forward to celebrating that event, but we have to get through 900 to get there. So if you don't mind sharing out the channel, let them know that we are Legion and Ryan's favorite hashtag ever, Fandom happens. He's a big fan of hashtags. That's actually why we came up with all these hashtags, is just to make Ryan happy. See that? That's what
Hashtag Ryan is happy.
That's a good one.
it just fits the channel with the whole DC fandom thing and just covering all the bases and everything. But I do want to say hey to the chat real quick. We got Ryan himself hitting it up first. Ruben Guzman, what's up? Appreciate you stopping by. Mars Comics, great supporter of the channel. Yeah, finally, we are back. We are back and kicking. And we got Mr. DJ Links himself up in here, hashtag Link Squad. So he's recently added the join feature to his channel, which is fantastic. And there'll be some more information on that on my video that drops tomorrow as well. So make sure y'all turn those notification bells on. There's a lot of channels highlighted in the video tomorrow with the stuff that I unbox and everything. There it is. There's a hashtag. Pocan Joe is up in here. What is going on? I'm excited to see what he's got in the secret lair. He's making Thor's hammer with no power tools. So that's this month's project.
Interesting.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Thank you. Another channel that's spotlighted tomorrow. He's on his road to 1K right now as well. And that's talked about in my video tomorrow as well. Flash Ray, how's it going? Glad you can make it by. Digger Jim, always good to see you. PJ King, what is up? Hailing all the way from across the big pond, my main man, 50 grand. Bart, what is up? My Canadian hetero life partner. How you doing tonight, Marty? Comic Burrito is up in here. I watched Stargirl. Holy smokes, that ending right? Right? Oh, man, I've been trying to tell people that show is a sleeper hit. That was the final show that was a DC Universe original that moved over to CW, which kind of made me nervous, but they did spread out their series a little bit with the main focus being on HBO Max. But Stargirl was one that just, it does not fit the mold for the Arrowverse stuff. It is its own thing, just like all the other DCU shows are. In season 2, it's still staying consistent with that, even though it is a Greg Bertolanti or something that produces all the CW.
Berlanti.
Yeah, Bertolanti. He is producing it, but between Stargirl and Superman and Lois, he's figured out that he cannot cookie cutter these shows and keep them working anymore, which kudos to him. Like the CW stuff might have hit a lull, but he noticed it, he changed, he evolved, and he's putting out fantastic content. But that Stargirl show is top notch.
You know, last night on the DCUI community, they had a Swamp Thing from 1990, the series. They're doing a watch along of that, and so I watched the first 3 episodes last night.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
How many people do you know you can say that out loud to and they can just in arms reach without standing up? I love the intro, like his
It
voice.
doesn't even surprise me anymore.
His
Yeah.
voice in that intro, the swamp. Like it's just
So swamp.
it just rolls through my mind from my childhood.
I know the evil. Do not bring it to my home.
It's fantastic, and they use like the same suit from Swamp Thing Returns, which is still like as good as the DCU Swamp Thing was. The one from Swamp Thing Returns is still like my favorite because it's got like the peaked nose and the head and everything, and it just reminds me so much of like the Alan Moore era. There we go. We got another one. Stargirl was really good. In that last 5 minutes, dude, me and my wife were both cheering. Like it was just, it was so awesome. And for those who don't know, it's a JSA heavy show. It's basically Justice Inc., which is like the second generation of JSA members, like the proteges, the younger relatives, what have you. So there's a lot of legacy stuff in it, Easter eggs, but it focuses on a younger cast and everything, which kind of brings it into modern day, but still has this old timey small town feel to it. It's really good. What is up, Whack Comics? They just uploaded their push for 1K today as well. Mm-hmm. Be sure to watch the whole video. Stargirl is still good. I think I only watched the first season. Yeah, the first episode of season 2 just dropped this week. Only one. Yeah, there it is. Flo, what is happening, my man? It was good to share with my son. Yes, Free Comic Book Day was awesome. A lot of love. Chop and drop. I'm glad you can make it. We Live was my first grab in the House of Slaughter. We Live was my first grab as well. Nelson, how are you doing? Glad you can make it. Oh, yeah. Oh, awesome. Dude, that is fantastic. Yeah. He found my Action Comics #1 video on YouTube and subscribed to it, where I went through all the different ones that I've acquired so far, which I'll have to update that video soon because there's been more added. And we talked for a while today about a good place to press, because he bought a couple of short boxes full of them, of the Loot Crate, which for 9.8s go for over $100. So wanting to get them pressed and everything, and talking about the CGC 25 book pre-screen where you can kind of spread out your submission, and not waste any extra money. You a lot. Thank you, Bart. Not a zombie anymore. Yeah, I talked to him about when I was sick compared to most people. I mean, yeah, I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you so much. Yeah, man, I wish they would bring Swamp Thing back. The CW's holding the show right now, like not like holding it hostage, but that is another show that went to CW. So I don't know, like the only thing that was really R-rated about that first season was the language. So they can easily make a season 2 and keep hitting it in the same tone and vibe. What's going on, Dale? All right, I think I've gotten caught up with the chat. Robert, how are you doing today? Tyler, you did make it. And that is everybody. So again, thanks everybody who stopped by the chat. There's so much to talk about. If anybody has any preferences, let me know, because there's no way to get through all of what happened this past week with so many releases, so many events. Before we get started, I do got to ask you, Justin, how awesome is it to get your first commission job for pressing?
It's pretty exciting, honestly. I ran into him at the owner of the comic book store at Houston's Comic-Con Comic Palooza. And
that's a long name.
Yeah, no kidding. Giving out my cards left and right, and just talking myself up, and I basically walked up to him, and I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I wanted to email you. It was very hard to find your email, but I just feel like right now is the best time to do it." And basically, the Comic-Con was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had an email in my inbox Monday evening, and he was like, "Stop by the store. I want to see what you can do." And basically, after discussing, what I do and my process and the videos that I showed, I was basically just saying like, hey, like I'll do these books for free. I have nothing but just time and energy to prove to you that I can do this, and we'll go from there. So, I mean, some of these books are
big boy books.
Yeah. And I just jumped right into it. The oldest book and the scariest book, that's the first one that I started with. And I just did my process. I treated it just as if it was just another regular book. And I wanted to show him that it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about anything other than just helping someone, even though he could have gone to anyone or chose anyone. I feel like it was really cool that he gave me the options.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So I've been sending him little tidbits here and there, but I'm really, really happy and really proud of myself that I was able to do this. So hopefully I'll start getting bigger and being able to help other people too. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Let me ask you a serious question on topic, Justin. Do you smell that?
Smell what?
It smells like armpits, my man.
Oh man! There he is.
Like armpits.
I can be like Justin. What's his hair and whatnot?
I know my hair was so wet. I was like, man, I should have waited.
I thought it looked great. Your hair looked great, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What is up, guys?
Nothing much. Just kind of getting rolling. There's a lot to talk about. It feels good being back, man. That hiatus was much needed, but I mean, it did good for my body, but not good for my soul, if that makes sense.
Are you 100%?
I don't even know what that means anymore, Steve. After being sick and trying to, I'd rather instead of go by percentages, go by colors. I feel green. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't think there's a better
You
color.
don't look green anymore, so that's good, though.
Yeah, good to feel green, not look green. What do you guys think about comics that today would not get printed? Action Comics 869, the Beer Recall, and Lois Lane 106, where that's the one where she was a black woman for the day, literally turned into a black woman and spent like the day seeing the world from someone else's perspective. I think that it's in some cases it's very warranted, and in some cases it's very unfortunate. There's not a cut and dry answer for that. It really just depends on the specific one of it. The Lois Lane one, I think that one, I don't know. I think that might get printed these days because the way that the culture is right now is big on looking at things through other people's perspective. Like that's a conversation that's had a lot, not always in a healthy manner, but it's definitely a reoccurring topic in society, especially in comics. But Superman drinking beer, that's not necessary.
No, like if you think about it, one of the most valuable comic books when it comes to beer out there is that Iron Man cover, the Demon in the Bottle cover.
Yeah.
Like it's like it, like different times, different place, right? And it's just the whole Comics Code Authority flexing a little bit of muscle here and there, but
heroin and
Well, and Roy Harper did his whole thing as well with drugs, alcohol, and all that stuff. So
I think that's really important to spotlight, though, because they didn't glorifying them; they were bringing awareness to them.
It's
properly. Sure. Why are you out of bed again? Oh no! It's bedtime. Go. Steve.
Yes.
So now that you're here, let's go ahead and touch on Titans. I know that Ryan hasn't had a chance to watch it. He hasn't started it yet. I'm sure that it's something that'll get done one day. I mean, there's so much to catch up on. I know Justin started it recently. He's on the first season. Chris, where do you stand on that show? Have you seen any of it?
I'm 2 seasons in. It's one of those shows when it's actually being filmed here, it actually does make news. So I'm aware of it usually through pre-production, then while it's shooting, and then when it goes to post is kind of when it just disappears off the landscape in Ontario. But yeah, first 2 seasons, third season I still can't get my hands on. I probably have to take a look at a pirated copy, but it is what it is right now. But yeah, the first 2 seasons I thought it was really good. Was the second season when we had the Batman from the Game of Thrones, or Bruce Wayne from the Game of Thrones? Yes. Okay. So I'm up to date on the first 2 seasons.
That sounds cool.
I cannot stress this enough that this might be one of the best comic book shows out there, with how grounded it is and how real it feels.
Yes.
And like season 1 was good, season 2 was spectacular, and season 3 is already crazy good. I mean, I'll let Mark take over, but it's I love that show. Love that show.
That's a very fair assessment. I know that it's easy for anybody who knows most of this panel to call us DC bias, which is a fair statement. So a lot of stuff is going to appeal to me a lot more on certain things just because that's where bigger fandom lies. But this show, I have to agree with that. It's very, very, very grounded. It is very realistic the way that they take it, like everything outside of people having superpowers and whatnot. And I think that the tone that they chose to go with this, with the more R-rated tone, more angsty characters, attitude problems, fits Titans properly. Because if you go back to the source material, that's what you were dealing with back then, but it wasn't always to this realistic of a level. I mean, this is what it looks like now for people to have bad attitudes and be angsty. And then you throw in that X factor of having abilities. I mean, it just plays really well. And the production value has steadily gone up with this show each season.
Yeah, and they're playing into, I don't want to say too much, but they're playing into the roles that each character has very well. Like, you're wondering partly why through one episode in season 3, why this character is doing what he's doing. because like normally you think they'd ask someone much smarter, but then he reminds you why he is so smart and why he should be doing that. Like I don't want to say too much, but like I don't know. I feel like they just did a really good job.
Yeah, they do a good job with finding each character's place to fit in properly. You know, like it's not like it's a jumbled mess. It's not like, I mean, everyone stands out with their own attributes. I even thought it was cool that first episode. They could have even titled it The Blame Game, because them reeling from the events of the death that everyone's aware of from just a trailer alone, like the famous Death in the Family storyline where Joker kills Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Like Starfire blames the team, Dick Grayson blames himself, Bruce blames himself, Barbara blames Bruce. Like it's just going around. It's like real time, like grief, like how people process it. You watch them go through it, the initial shock of it, then trying to place blame somewhere and process, and then putting their best foot forward and trying to work through it. And it's really well done. I think them moving it to HBO Max might have had something to do with the structuring, and you know, I think HBO might have offered a little bit of something to this. You know, it was a DCU original for the first 2 seasons, and now they're playing on HBO. Like, there's no better place for it to be. Anything really that's a TV show. That's they hold all the records for amazing TV.
And each character is growing like a lot too. Like you can see Nightwing versus the first episode of the first season versus now. Like he was really mad and upset and pissed off very first episode of the show. And like now, like when he's looking at things, he's looking at everything in a positive light. Like it's going to happen. The right thing is going to happen all the time. And Starfire went from like season 1 just killing people, no big deal, to being on TV and like
proper memory. Yeah, now she's a spokesperson.
Now she's a spokesperson, and it's just, I don't know, like there's a lot of growth in the show, but at the same time, like this season changed the game on one specific character to where like everyone knows it's Red Hood. Like everyone knows Red Hood is in the show. They changed the game on this character a lot. Like he is comic book accurate, but they also change a lot of other stuff as well. Like he's a baller. He is a baller and someone to be reckoned with for sure.
Nick is here for Marvel. I'm here for Indy. Let's talk DC.
Yes.
We'll touch on it here shortly, Kyle. Don't worry. Oh, snap. Steve, where'd you come from? Yeah, Dale, I've ever since you got that Superman book, you opened the door. You opened the door on yourself.
I really want to see, and I was telling you this, Mark, I want to see them stay in Gotham for next season and do like a Court of Owls storyline. I think that'd be awesome. And it definitely seems like we're just going to keep adding more and more characters over the next couple seasons. And my hope, obviously, is that they add Wally West, my favorite DC character, the best Flash, one of the founding members of the Teen Titans. And so I would love to see him and Roy Harper at some point. And
on that note, they've already introduced a slew of actual known comic characters into this show, and they didn't do it by huge spotlights and fanfare. They just rolled them through into the universe. It was really smooth. It was really nice. Like they're doing a good job with it. But not to harp on that too much, or we'd be here all night, I am sure. I did mention Stargirl already. That's Titans. I'm hoping to get more in depth as the season goes. And I mentioned this too. I can almost see this season having 2 kind of distinct story arcs for this season.
I think there's going to be 3
shows, kind of bookmark it in the middle and shift directions. But I think that's one thing that this show desperately needs, because like someone mentioned earlier in the chat, I think it was Flo that he said how season 2 for him kind of fumbled at the end. And I can see that. It wasn't necessarily as smooth through that whole season. It kind of lulled in the middle. And they didn't take full advantage of how epic they could have made that season. They focused heavily on just putting Robin into the Nightwing suit. And I don't know. There could have been some improvement to that one, but I'm expecting this season to deliver a lot better than the last, to keep following the same trend it's taking so far.
They're just going to continue to just shock people left and right. And they've done that before, but this season in particular, they are definitely going to continue, I think, to shock people with what's happening.
Yeah. And yeah, little self promotion for Steve here. He does have that affiliate link for StreamYard, which is an amazing tool for all people that are streaming on YouTube. It can also stream simultaneously to other platforms as well. There's a free version, there's a paid version, then there's a premium package for 4K streaming. But it is an amazing tool. If you watch my videos, like they're all like they're not post edited, they're all like live produced. So you're able to upload video clips, photos, all kinds of stuff in there, and pull stuff up on the screen. It's an amazing tool. And so yeah, definitely hit Steve's affiliate link if you do want to buy into it, because people helping people is a powerful thing.
I appreciate that, bro.
And we got none other than the C-list villain himself here. We got E-Man. What is up?
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk a few books real quick. Let's mix it up a little bit here. I don't want everyone just sitting here listening to me jib jabber. Justin, what have you picked up or read from this week?
That's a good question. Pretty much all the stuff from last week: Batman, Robin, Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, Flash. I'm down on Joker. I'm down on Berserker. And then, yeah. I need to find one of those Something's Killing the Turtles book. I love that cover.
That's not a book. The Turtles.
That's not a book.
Is it? No? I thought it was like maybe a...
It's just a print.
It's just an art print. Mm-hmm.
Austin LeMay, the fantastic community member and artist, came up with this concept and did these super limited, and they're already sold out art prints, and he did 25 of them, and you have the option to get them signed and remarked. Austin kept number 1 and 2 for himself.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm going to have to find one day.
3, but I've got number 4.
I thought it was like a variant book. That's cool.
Steve, tell him how he can win one of these.
Yeah, Steve.
You can join the Burke fam and be a family tier member, because next month there's going to be one of those in there. It's not going to be signed. It's not going to be numbered. It's just a regular print. That's going to be in next month's Burke box, along with a bunch of other really awesome books from the 616comics.com and a slab. And this last month's box was amazing. I feel like next month's box is just as good. So you can definitely be intertwined by joining the Burke family. So.
Yeah, his Burke box quality went through the roof last month and this coming month.
I don't know what I'm going to do for the next month. I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. But I will say this.
That's what you said this month.
Yeah, hopefully he continues this trend.
I have talked to another artist that people may know. They do know. About doing some art for the Burke boxes coming up after Austin LeMay. Because I don't want to wear everyone out on just Austin LeMay art, which is his art is amazing, but I also want to give out equal opportunity to some other people. We got some more art coming from some other awesome people. So
I hope Tyler somehow goes bankrupt and he has to drop the Burke fam and he's not eligible to win.
He won the last month's Burke box, and
between Tyler and this guy right here, who's also spotlighted in my video tomorrow, they just win left and right.
They do.
All right, back to the books. Y'all want to talk free comic book day pickups? Y'all want to talk the new books?
Let's do it.
Which ones? Chris, you make the call.
All right, we can talk about your baby. We can also talk about my baby.
Mine's
and then we can talk about the fact that I actually thought this was going to be an original story. It's not. It's just a reprint of issue number 1. But when I say your baby, I'm talking about We Live, obviously. And when I mention mine, Enter the House of Slaughter.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and talk on Enter the House of Slaughter real quick, because I've got a lot to say about that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
I thought it was interesting how Tynan weaved in the timeline of what was happening in Wisconsin to the point where Aaron was back at HQ dealing with the leadership there, and with the dragon getting more and more angry as Erica went along in Archer's Peak, and things started to quickly spiral out of control between issue 1. Did he just flex the hell out of it?
Nelson asked, "What's the most expensive comic you own?" So I just reached for.
Okay.
It's right behind me.
I could show my Flash 106.
Yeah,
I thought
grab it.
I really enjoyed the fact that Tynan kind of weaved in a little bit of that flavor that he's been doing with the Nice House on the Lake, where he's doing side commentary that seems to be just investigative reporting that Aaron was doing with the powers that be in Archer's Archer's Peak, and also we got to see some of the contracts that were drawn up where Aaron requested money from the council at the basically from Cecilia, and she basically cut him in half when it came to the funds that he requested. I thought it was probably the best Something Is Killing the Children book we've had since issue 15.
Oh wow!
And that's for me, that's saying a lot. Basically, most of the stuff that we've seen from Erica is what we dealt with from issue 1 to 15. I thought it was just an interesting take to see what was going on during the same timeline back in Chicago, and with Aaron being pushed and pushed and pushed to the point where he eventually gets deployed to Wisconsin to deal with Erica because she's out of control. But again, I thought it was a real good take. I really enjoyed the fact that we saw the contracts drawn up, and that we did get to see the commentary between what I feel was Aaron and the police force, and the police force basically being bought off to keep their mouth shut and not to report any of the children's deaths to the federal level.
Now,
Again,
see, like 90% of this book was included already in the regular run of Something Is Killing the Children. That's my thing with it. Like, it was literally just issue 6, 7, and 8, kind of compressed and from a zigzagging perspective. You know what I mean? And this series, the Enter the House of Slaughter series itself, is supposed to focus on Aaron. And Aaron only lived for 5 issues of this comic run. And they're starting off this introduction to him halfway through his lifespan that we're aware of, which is odd to do. And I felt like the only real thing that they showed us new was the blue bandanas. When you popped in and you see them working on the computers, So I'm just kind of wondering.
Well, we saw the blue bandana in the last issue, but what this did was define that there's like different classes and levels. That's what the colors represent. So we know for sure now the teeth represent the House of Slaughter, so that's their symbol. And then the other symbol we've been seeing is the Order of St. George. And the colors tell us what class, what tier they are, and how they're treated within that society.
I didn't necessarily take it as class or tier versus just job description.
I guess so, but there was definitely a sense of them talking down at people depending on what level they were at.
I just figured that's because they're a bunch of jerks, because they've been doing that all through the last few issues. No, and also they've been doing that all through the last few issues of the regular series amongst each other in the same. That's just,
well, the scene where like they're kind of talking around the people with the blue bandanas as if they're not even really there. Like it reminded me a lot of just like the the plantation system. Like the slaves are right there, and you're just talking like mad shit about whoever or whatever, and like you just pretend they don't exist. And so they have this other circulation, of all these different secrets and stuff. So to me, it kind of represented like a class system.
Yeah, I can see that. And
quick comparison you did there too, man. I got to admit.
The quick answer to your question, I use both CGC and CBCS. And at the moment with the wait times at CGC, I'm more than happy with just submitting to CBCS. But there still are some specific books I'd rather have with one company or the other based on what I might own kind of similar books in already, just for display purposes. I do personally believe that CBCS is more consistent with their grading scale that they use. I'm not comparing that to CGC, just within their own company. And I like the more harsh grading sense that I've been getting from them, and also seeing amongst other people, as well as the lower prices for when buying. So if you're talking about selling, it's a different story, but I don't do too much selling.
I also really liked that in this issue we saw Tynan apply the lessons he's learning in his other series, and we got like the actual, like Chris was pointing out, like we saw the contracts and the requests and denials and stuff with the proper headings and everything. Like it's very non-traditional sequential art done in Tynan style. Like it's the same thing we're getting out of Department of Truth and Nice House
Right.
on the Lake right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Department of Truth and Nice House on the Lake are leaps and bounds better than anything else he's writing currently. And
Oh,
that's,
no
not,
doubt.
that's not to take away from his other projects. That's just how good his writing is for the most part.
Yeah.
And I
And
do
like this
wanna-
issue, I mean,
Nick, you got the caliber. He's been so jealous of me for that Caliber Presents, and he won't come off with those Crow books to save his life. But whatever, Nick. Whatever. What grade did you get it in? Did you get the 9.8? That's all I want to know. You can't hide that money. Let us know. Oh, I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I agree with Chris. Like this wasn't necessarily my favorite issue of Something Is Killing the Children, but it definitely is better than 18 and at least as good as, if not better than 16 and 17. So
But yeah, I kind of wonder where the storyline is going to go with Enter the House of Slaughter, or I guess just House of Slaughter. And if it is going to be an Aaron book, I wonder if we're just going to see a new protege kind of in the woodworks, and then when Aaron's killed off, they're going to focus on another type of character.
yeah, the way that Tynan penned it in his newsletters, the way he describes it is that Something Is Killing the Children is going to focus on Erica and her story. House of Slaughter is supposed to start with Aaron, and he'll be the focal point, but he talks about it almost as if it's like an anthology piece that'll move through the house and will follow different characters at different times.
Very good.
It's weird because in the main series, we already have Aaron at a older teenager age. And then earlier in the main series, we got him as a young adult, middle-aged adult, and his death. So there's a weird, very short kind of time span they have to work with this series. But I am excited and for nonetheless that Justin Birch, who's a professional letterer on comic books, will be working on that book. And he's also a member and supporter of the comic community here. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But all right, let's talk about your baby, Mark. And for those that are still with us, Mark talks about when we talk about We Live. When he finished We Live, he got choked up and he was very emotional. Well, this week, or just a handful of days ago, Mark contacted Ryan and myself and said, "Damn it, they did it to me again." He got emotional about what happens in this short story with the Miranda brothers. We Live, The Last Days, and I thought it was so good. Like even for like a free comic book day comic book, I thought it was so good. They could have released this in like a trade paperback kind of thing and charged $7 or $8. And I still would have thought, that would have been a steal for the story content that we got.
Yeah, it was really good. So it focuses on a group of kids separate than any of the ones that we've seen in the main series. And it also goes back in time a little bit in the main series. So there's some characters that you would recognize in this that are in the main series that don't necessarily make it. But these 4 groups of kids are off on their own and everything. And they introduced this new concept that the bands that the kids get to be able to save their lives and get off this planet, there's headhunters for those bands that have devices that they can track them down. And they clearly have been capable of doing something that the sketchy government wasn't in, benefiting from stealing bands from these kids. And that's something that I'm sure they'll explore later or not, because we might be past this point in the main series. But these kids come across a hunter who's already passed away, and they get his gear and they go looking for a band and that's on his radar. And long story short, they talked about it ahead of time. And if they were in one, they would just draw straws for it. And when they go to do it, they draw straws and the specific kid wins. And then it flashes back to that the kids talking to their parents about the winner, unbeknownst to him that he's terminally ill, as a lot of people on this planet are. So the other 3 friends got together without him knowing, and I got goosebumps right now. And they decided that no matter what, when it's time to draw straws, and they don't do straws, they put X's on a paper and put it in a hat, and whoever draws the X gets the band. So what they did was they all put an X on their own paper, put it in the hat, And when they drew, they all pretended like they lost so that he could win and put that band on and feel like he was going to survive another day before he eventually passes away. And by the end of it, they're all putting their own X's on his grave and everything and paying respects to this kid who died before he ever had a chance to live. And it was, my God, it was just so good. It was so good. It was just a perfect story of friendship, how the lengths that we would go to protect one another despite what's going on in our life, whether we know we're going to live another day or not. Like it, the Miranda brothers are onto something with this. Like the dynamic that Inaki and Roy work together with and are able to weave a story and create this world is just totally immersive. Like, and it just, man, at the end of it, I dropped the book. I'm like, oh my God. Like it was a touching moment. That sounds cheesy, but my kids have made me soft over the years, and stuff like this just nails me.
But yeah, the pose he strikes when he feels fantastic when he gets the armband is priceless. And what the icing on the cake is just when you turn the page and you realize that he's already gone, the three of them still band together is terrific.
It is just something.
Again, they could have charged $7 for this book.
Yeah,
and
hit
I wouldn't
that
have felt
page again, that sense of pride that Inaki Miranda is able to, like the artwork just tells a story in itself with this series. And they're all just playing in the background. Like they don't care that they didn't win the band or anything. And he's just on cloud nine. Like it's just fantastic.
And,
such a great series.
Then they realize, three can carry on.
And they all have the little pieces down at the foot of his grave. It's just, it was rough. It was rough in the best way.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a departure, I thought, for a departure from the violence that we live. Yeah, Nick.
Yeah.
It's a departure from the violence that the original story had, but I understand why it went that way because of the fact that this is a free comic book day comic. It could get into the hands of 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, and I understand there's a death in it, like I don't want to say a la Bambi's mother kind of thing, but there is a death in it. But you understand what the three other children are doing, or when it happens, you understand what happens, and so there wasn't that you do have a standoff in it, but there's no shoot 'em up moments where
it's all tension.
Where you have, you don't have children being wiped out the way that there was in the original series. Spoiler alert.
Anyone who read the original series know that these people know how to write tension.
Right.
And that's what they did with this one issue.
But yeah, for a free comic book day comic book, I think this was probably the best one that I've read. And
there was a lot of good ones, though.
Yeah, and it may even be better than most of the stuff that came out last year, too. Get it? Never mind.
Yeah. Steve, Justin, what do y'all got?
I picked up the same stuff.
Comic book day yet, dude. I'm waiting on the haul from Paul.
I mean, in general.
Oh.
Hit us with a topic.
Go ahead, Justin. You go first.
I hadn't read much of the free stuff, I'll be honest. It doesn't
matter if it's free comic book day, new comic book day, old comic book day, recent pickups. Just hit us with something.
I've been backwards collecting Something is Killing the Children. So
how many you up to?
So I guess I can count my 8th print of number 1.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm only 8 or 9 books down now. So number 2 all the way through number 9.
Now, isn't
First
it
printing?
that has that unfortunate story about how Once and Future and Something came out on the same week?
That is weird.
And when you went to the shop, you picked up Once and Future and not Something is Killing the Children?
Oh, is that the true story?
No, I'm asking you. Are you the one that happened to?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. Is that a true story?
Well, I hate it. I did
the opposite.
I looked at it and I was just like, huh. No, yeah, that's just not my tempo. And I just walked away.
I did the opposite.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, I picked up this Joker number 6, Suicide Squad 2, thinking it was Suicide Squad number 6. So I didn't even read the top portion because it's a minimal trade dress. So
That's fun.
What issue number is that?
The Joker #6.
Oh, okay, yeah. How they just did the promotional covers across the board.
Yeah. It was all right.
I loved the movie, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Great. They did a great job. I think
fantastic.
Elba, and I wouldn't say that was Quinn's best performance, but it was definitely a very enjoyable one.
Yeah, it depends on how extreme you want your Harley Quinn. There was moments in it for sure that I think she shined a lot better in this, like that fight scene they gave her, where it was almost like you're seeing it through her own mind.
It was amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool, and I think they nailed certain aspects of her, like how she really played into the president and everything, and then just out of nowhere the gunshot. I was not expecting that. Like he's sitting there monologuing, and then he just has a hole in his heart.
Oh yeah, right. I felt
with
that
his own gun. Yeah.
I felt it coming.
Yeah, I had no clue. I was blindsided by it, admittingly.
Yeah, I thought it was great though because it like turned to like this like real world violence, and then like turned it back up to 11 in like great style. You know, it gave her a real moment as like a real person and not just like a caricature of a Harlequin. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely was a little bit more grounded, even with the hyper violence. But I think that in all reality, like I heard a couple of people like making posts or comments saying, I don't like stuff being violent just for the sake of being violent. But all they did was add in the elements of what would happen if you did these things to these people. You know, it wasn't over the top for the actions they were taking. You know what I mean? Even
they were fighting Stargirl. I mean, come on.
Going down, like when he was eating people, they like I was expecting like people to get taken to pieces and stuff like when he was eating them, but no, he just numbs them whole, or just sits there and uses the head like a gobstopper or something, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with White Ash. Did any of y'all pick up, read, or familiar with that one?
I don't remember
I
seeing
know
that
of
one.
it.
I got my hands on it. I haven't read it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Who was y'all's favorite character from the new Suicide Squad movie? Lived or died, doesn't matter.
Oh, Peacemaker all the way.
Yeah, that's hard. I think he killed that role.
I mean, it's got to be a Peacemaker, right? It's got to be, right?
Steve, what are your thoughts of Peacemaker movie? Because I know, like your real introduction, at least talking with us about him, was this current run of Suicide Squad, where he wasn't necessarily your favorite, just because how they.
Well, he's a chump. He's a chump.
Yeah, that was the word you used repetitively.
He's a chump, but the way John Cena played him, let's be honest, he played the crap out of that role. Like,
he did.
He killed that role, and the whole movie was just insanely awesome, stupid, funny, amazing. It does make me kind of like the character a little bit more, but at the same time, I just feel like that might be John Cena's best acting job ever. Like, he's not built for being serious.
I could agree with that.
He's supposed to be a funny guy, and he does a great job of it. Like that whole scene where him and Bloodsport are trying to one-up each other.
Yeah.
That was the best scene in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah, when he didn't even look at hollow-tip explosive rounds. Boom!
Yes.
Show off. They do if what you're showing off is effing awesome. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Man, for me, by far, I think there's the funniest single moment of that movie is when the resistance leader asked them why my men didn't alert me of your presence, and their reaction is, "I didn't see anybody. What men?" Yeah. And behind them, there's just body parts, burnt corpses, start spitting out a finger, and when he popped in the side of that tent, just the face.
That whole scene was so good.
It was
I
so
was
good.
watching it like the second time on my tablet when I was laying down in bed, and Finn comes walking in there right before a king shark comes tiptoeing through the shrubbery behind him. So I let Finn watch that. That scene of him tiptoeing behind that guy still cracks me up. I don't know why. It's so funny.
One of my favorite characters was the Michael Rooker character. I know that we only had him for half of the first act, but I gotta admit, man, like James Gunn suckered me into thinking that this is going to be our Suicide Squad. I didn't realize that that was just the first wave kind of thing, and the cavalry wasn't even on the same beach. But I thought the fact that that Michael Rooker's character was the focal point for the first 10 minutes, you want to say, just being that hard ass, gruff kind of guy. And I'm like, all right, we're going to get to see Michael Rooker be Michael Rooker. This is going to be pretty good. And then the whole thing where he's having the Save It Private Ryan moment where he's just like being caught up in everything, and you can see the switch change in his mind, and just like, I can't do this, and turns around and runs away. Then we got to see the actress who plays Amanda Waller get to flex some of her acting chops and like tell him, turn around, stop, turn around, and then that's the end of Michael Rooker. But that whole beachfront scene where, where I forget the name of the character whose arms can come off, and essentially he's just punching people, the Nathan Lane character. But yeah, it was that whole first act there with that first team. I thought that was just terrific, and then just the fact that the cavalry team, or the second team, I guess, walks into a camp and then wipes out all the freedom fighters thinking that they're terrorists. I thought that was just brilliantly done. That entire first act was just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, Nathan Lane would have been a whole different performance.
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Lane doing a reenactment of producers. The detachable kid, dude, it was so funny when they're like, you got a clearing, you're up, TDK, and like you're expecting something grandiose, and he just pops his arms off and he's all into it, and you see his arms just
slapping him.
Like some Three Stooges stuff. Like, yeah, it was pretty
They're just smacking him back.
Amazing.
It was something, man.
And then whenever they light him up, he's over there just like, oh. Like, oh my god, that doesn't just suck.
How about Milton? Like, what an awesome addition. Just Milton in the background hanging out with him, and then Polka Dot Man just losing it over it.
But yeah, the ongoing joke of Polka Dot's mother too, that was just brilliantly done. And I
think the tone, pacing, style of how when they took the serious moment serious and laid into the comedy, I think James Gunn did a fantastic job for the Suicide Squad. I think that worked really well.
I thought, if I were ranking it, I still think Guardians 1 was probably my favorite of those three movies, but Suicide Squad was definitely better than Guardians 2, I thought.
They're so different, even though they're made by the same guy. And I don't know why, but I love Guardians 1 so much, but I've rewatched Guardians 2 countless times at this point as well. I can't tell you which one I watch more with. Like, even Finn's seen both of them countless times, because you watch one of them, then you got to watch the other one. But they're both so fun. Seeing Yondu go full Yondu in the second one, and the little nods and the relationship with him and Peter and everything, and how they lean into that, and seeing Sylvester Stallone show up and give him the proper send off. I mean, it had its moments just like the first one did for me. I don't see the negativity that some people have on it.
I think the second one was good. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. It just wasn't the unexpected surprise that the first one was. I think there's a lot of nostalgia that's attached to that first movie.
That makes sense. But here we go. That moment right there.
Mary Poppins,
man, that was good. I ain't never done nothing right. Let me do this. I'm like, man, and Rocket and Yondu, like, man, and watching Rocket just go through the forest and just take out the whole team of Ravengers and stuff. I mean, it had its moments, but I can agree. I was not blindsided by the second one. The first one, nobody was expecting it to be that good. Nobody.
Yeah.
That's a funny question because I'm an avid collector of Tales to Astonish, and Where Monsters Dwell is a series that collects more or less reprints of monster titles that came before it. So Groot's second appearance is in Where Monsters Dwell, which is a reprint of Tales to Astonish issue 13, which I offloaded the majority of Where Monsters Dwell because I am a run collector for Tales to Astonish. As Steve knows, there's a banger coming. There's a banger on the way. You got to get in before it's crazy. And Pocan Joe here as well would probably say the same thing. If you just want the stories, it's fantastic. If you're budget shopping certain stuff, it's fantastic. But you're not going to get too much original material with it all just primarily being reprints. And I don't want to say primarily, but a large portion of it is that I know of. But Joe is also a Tales to Astonish collector as well. That's why I like him. That might be the only reason why I like Pocan Joe. That. And because he'll argue philosophy with me, which is just fun. That's just fun. Well, come on, man. I'll take some of those. I felt more in Guardians 2 than Guardians 1. Maybe I have daddy issues. I don't know. Like I said, I'm the same way. I think the father-son relationship and stuff these days really just hits me. You know, my son's 3, my oldest is 13, and my youngest is 1. So, like, there's so many different emotions with these kids at all these different ages. Yeah, like, man, it just hit me in the feels. Big pats. All right, go lay down. Thank you. Go lay down. Mwah. Go lay down. Kid can't sleep. Still brings tears in my eye. Yeah, it was good. Let's talk some new comic book day books real quick, since I know Steve hasn't had a chance to pick up the free comic book days. I know they're on the way to him, but real quick, I'm going to run through really fast what I got. I got that Joker number 6, 1 in 25. I've been collecting all these. I wish they'd stop making them so I can just have them all already. Here's one that I missed previously, Batman 111, that I was able to pick up. Nice House 3rd print, because I'm all in on Nice House. Spider-Man, Spider Shadow. We got Mighty Morphin number 10, which is my read of the week. That Nice House 3rd print, 1 in 25 variant. Big thank you to Paul Rogers at the Augusta Book Exchange. Infinite Frontier number 4 of 6. I'm going to be so sad to see this series wrap up. That's one that, for me, can do with an ongoing. Rorschach number 11. I'm going to be sad to see that go as well. Detective 1041, consistently good as always. The Joker A cover. Justice League Last Ride number 4. Batman 89 issue number 1. And Suicide Squad Get Joker in that premium, what is it called? Prestige format, black label. Man, good stuff. Skybound X.
Skybound X5. The conclusion to Spider Shadow. Bunny Mask 3. This is not the conclusion of this series. Defenders numero 1. A great fire cover. Daredevil. 33. 29 of Miles and the Clone Saga. Detective 1041. We all know Mr. Bermeo continues to hit home runs month after month. 6 of 10, Ron V's The Swamp Thing. Wonder Woman 777. This bit of surprisingly very good fun. Batman 89. And I've already shown you the reader copies that I have of Free Comic Book Day.
Anyone else got any books they want to show off from this week?
I do. I like you on camera.
No, I threw Ryan up there first after you already told me he hadn't been there yet.
What are you doing, man? Infinite Frontier, number 4. Absolutely special read. Special read. Love that. The Joker 6. It was okay. Both of those. Oh, that's a cover A. This is the Suicide Squad 2 movie cover. Not to be confused with Suicide Squad number 6. Future State Gotham number 4. This one was horrible.
Yeah, I ended up dropping that series after 3.
I'm going to give it one more whirl in the next one, but I'll probably drop it after that. I just wish it was colorized.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something like number 1, 3rd print. Batman 89 might be the biggest surprise of the week of how good it was.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
And then this one.
That first issue is mainly just all nostalgia feels and everything, but
this was just all the other ones. This is the best cover of all of them, but they're losing me a little bit with Tim Fox right now, or Jace Fox, the next Batman. But I know issue 1 is finally going to be just all about him in the suit, so I might grab that too, but I don't know. I don't know. And that's my home.
Well, y'all pick a book and let's talk about it. I'm going to take this little man and go. He's got to use a potty. He can't reach.
I don't have the 1 of 25, Nick.
I'll be back. Nick
Um,
Nick needs someone to flex. There it is, Nick. Chris, you want to talk about Spider Shadow real quick?
Absolutely. I thought it was just an okay ending to a terrific storyline. I've mentioned this a million times before. I'll say it again. It's pretty sad that the best Spider-Man story out there right now, outside of Miles, but the best Peter story right now is actually a what if storyline, because ASM has just been, like whatever. And I thought it was just an okay ending. I really thought that Chip Zdarsky was going to have Peter killed off in the end, but in the end, it was Reed Richards that was killed by the symbiote that he was hosting, and Peter basically made a deal with the devil with the symbiote that was taking over Reed Richards, and the deal was that as long as he leaves MJ, the rest of the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men alone, that the symbiote could have Peter back, and the symbiote, of course, agreed to it because the symbiote is still madly in love with Peter, and but the final blow was, as the symbiote was about to take over Peter, oh yeah, this guy here is the smartest man on earth and he knows how to kill me, so I'm going to kill him as I'm leaving, and basically stabs and annihilates Mr. Fantastic as he leaves the body. Well, Peter sees this happens, runs away, and then the symbiote chases him as everything is happening. Long story short, what we thought was Peter wasn't Peter. It was a projection being put on a body, and that body belonged to the Human Torch. And just as the symbiote was about to merge with this body, it realizes that it wasn't Peter, and Johnny Storm says those famous words, "Flame on," just annihilating and killing the symbiote and saving the day. The final part of the story was that Sue doesn't blame Peter for Reed's death, and while Peter and MJ are visiting the grave of Mr. Fantastic, Sue approaches him and has a quick moment with him and invites him to become the new fourth member of the Fantastic Four.
Which plays into a separate what if from back in the day.
Right. The very first what if was what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, so that was a really cool little nod there.
Right. We did get to see Peter actually had to atone for his crimes and went to court for the murders of different characters that he wiped out when the Black Suit had taken him over. So that was an interesting part. We did get to see Chip Zdarsky's Matt Murdock show up just in a brief little cameo, and Captain America took the stand and in Peter's defense, and Peter basically gets off from
murder.
Gets off from multiple murders, I guess.
What do you argue with Captain America?
Right. And the story ends, I thought, kind of cool, where because now the general public knows who Spider-Man is. Of course, Peter Parker knows that everyone knows Spider-Man is now Peter Parker. When he joins the Fantastic Four, he doesn't wear a mask, just like the rest of the members of the Fantastic Four. The general public knows who those people are. And
that sounds awful.
The last part of the story is the Kingpin that we thought was killed in the very first episode by Peter by a mean left hook. He didn't even give him a right.
Yeah.
Somehow the Kingpin had survived, and that people that are basically his lieutenants have a copy of the symbiote and is about to merge the symbiote with the Kingpin, and that's how the book ends. I thought it was just an okay ending.
After the start of this book with him like slowly being taken over by the symbiote and us seeing all that new material and stuff, it was all downhill. I wish that the whole story would have been that. I wish they wouldn't have cut it halfway through and then just been a Spider-Man story fighting symbiotes at that point, And did you notice that the symbiote that they brought to Wilson was red? It was the Carnage.
The Carnage.
Yeah, definitely the Carnage. So it had some cool parts, but I feel like this series definitely peaked at 3, and 4 and 5 were just meh.
The parts I felt they could have left out was the whole J. Jonah Jameson angle, where all of a sudden he had, his just complete 180 turnaround, where he thought, Spider-Man was a menace, and all of a sudden now he's out to protect Spider-Man at all costs. I thought that's something that could have been shelved, or could have been edited way down from the part or from the storyline that it actually was. But they could have just simply have left it with, where in the end, Mr. Fantastic realizes the only way the symbiote's going to have to be stopped is that Peter dies. So they could have gone a million different ways, but it's like you mentioned, it was a very nice, quiet homage to What If #1, with Peter joining the Fantastic Four in the end. But again,
Vicky.
I think the bigger picture is how sad it is. The best Spider-Man story that we've had in the last 2 years is in a What If and not in the Amazing title.
Yeah, I agree. And it still didn't, be honest with you, still didn't blow me away yet, because as an overall, looking back on it, it didn't blow me away. The first few issues definitely did, but yeah, it was still fun.
Yeah, it was cool to see Spider-Man just no holds barred, just killing off the Sinister Six. So, and what we thought was the Kingpin. So,
Ryan, what have you read from this week?
I read that Batman 89.
What did you think?
I thought it was okay. It doesn't really, at least this issue, like I said, it's a bunch of setup, but I don't know. It didn't feel like there was any kind of stakes to it, really.
Do you have your issue up right now, Vet?
Yeah, I do.
Real quick, go to that first page, that Halloween banner page. I just want to show this out. We talked about it Thursday on Burke's live stream.
Yeah,
that page right there is just covered in all of Tim Burton's characters, from Mars Attacks to Beetlejuice to
the Johnny Depp looking
very
Joker
well
down
done.
there. Yeah, that was such a fun Easter egg page. I mean, that doesn't define a good book by any stretch of the imagination, but that is fun. If you have that book and you miss that, go back to that page and just play Where's Waldo on it. You'll have a blast doing it.
Yeah. I wasn't, I don't know. I probably won't continue reading it anyway, but I didn't really care for the art that much. Like, sometimes it was great, but there was also times where it was like super cartoony, and for something that's supposed to be building on the live action movie verse sort of concept, I thought it was just a little weird. It went as cartoony as it did sometimes.
Yeah, I can see that. But I enjoyed just, I felt like the book did a good job because it's Batman 89. A big purpose of this book existing is to play to the nostalgia of the people that are fandom around that movie. And it did a really good job of that. Now that it's done that and established that, I'm ready and expecting for it to tell a decent story. We do know, or we expect to get Two-Face stuff out of this. And it's interesting that when this book starts, he's kind of already has it out for Batman. Because at the all through Batman 89, which we rewatched the other night because Finn hadn't seen it yet, and he sat down and watched the whole movie like a kid would be watching a cartoon, just asking questions and like watching. He loved it. It was great. But why is Harvey out after Batman? Because through the movie, he's a supporter of him. At the end, he's even reading the speech and everything when they fire up the bat signal. So that's an interesting point that I'm going to be looking for moving forward. Is why did Harvey turn? What about it that it made him change gears?
I thought it was a little campy, but I thought it was a fun book, and I get that the whole Adam West 60s stuff, was over the top camp, but the Tim Burton stuff did have that level of campiness, in my opinion, as well. In 1989, he dialed it back. He dialed it back a little bit. I felt with his second offering, away from what the first one was, but I thought it was good. Like I maybe I'm just a little bit more nostalgic about it than what Ryan is, but
yeah.
Again, I really got caught up in the second page as well. Like I just kind of like at first the very first thing that caught me with second page story was there was a little kid dressed up in a Bumblebee outfit, and I thought, my God, is that like a quiet homage to Blind Melon? because I remember the Blind Melon video for their singular hit came out in 1989, and I thought, well, are they playing into that? And then I start to look closer, and it's like Tim Burton's world is going on in this one page. And maybe it's just from that point I was just like, this is good, this is good, this is good. Whereas Ryan's like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care.
Yeah.
When does Superman 78 come out?
In a couple of weeks.
I'm a little more excited for that one, to be honest.
Oh, I am too. Let's get it.
I'll give it a whirl just for you, Mark. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, just read it digital. You know,
true.
If you're not huge nostalgic into Superman, and then who's writing it in? Vendetti writing it.
I'll tell you right. Yeah, Robert Vendetti with the art done by Wilfredo Torres.
Now I'm not too hit that up on the screen again, Chris.
Sorry, man.
Yeah,
you got to give me a heads up, man. Nobody wants to see my big head. Yeah.
So the fact that he's drawn in a very good likeness, I'm all about. But that art style is really soft, like it's very soft drawn, and so I'm interested to see how that'll play, if that's on the inside of the book or what. But I'm very pumped for it because Christopher Reeve isn't only my Superman; he is Superman. So yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, come on, it's Vermeil. It's Vermeil. It looks great.
Hard pass.
Yeah,
he says that, but he's going to buy it.
You want that Miko cover, right?
I got the Miko cover for Batman 89, both the full trade dress and minimal, as well as Superman 78.
That's what I thought.
Now we got a doughy Superman.
The best will be if they cross the characters over. Let's be honest. You know that's coming. With a little bit of Wonder Woman too from the 70s.
He most definitely was drawn like Billy D. Williams. It was fantastic.
100%.
Yeah,
I don't really feel that. I feel like he looked like Billy D. Williams because we knew he was supposed to be Billy D. Williams.
Enough, Ryan, that is good enough.
that was part of what I didn't like about the artwork. It was a little, I don't know. To me, it didn't really lean into what they look like as much as it did what we thought they were supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Louis sent me a Batman.
Didn't look like Keaton either, if you ask me.
He did have a little bit more gray. I don't remember much.
He had that curly hair to him that looks like Keaton back then. I thought it looked a little bit like him.
All right, Louis sent me this Batman 89 from 1989. The movie adaptation. Let me see if Billy D. Williams is in here and let Ryan compare them.
Guys, I'm about.
Right, Justin,
good seeing you, Justin.
Have a good night. I'll see y'all next week.
Justin.
Go Bills, man.
Yes.
Don't start that crap.
You got to go through the Chiefs first.
It'll happen.
Are you going to tell me that Billy D. doesn't even show up in this book? This is like the full movie adaptation and like a smaller graphic novel size thing.
It's like a trade dress. Yeah. I have a copy close by as well. But I thought the artwork mimicked what the visuals in the film were, but like right down to the Batmobile and everything.
Ryan, here's the only panel that he shows up in this. So which one does he look like Billy D. Moore in? There he is back there.
No.
Which one, Ryan?
You want me to pull it back open here?
Yeah.
Want to do a side by side?
Let's see what he looks like in that one. Now you gotta keep in mind the style of the artist.
I'm just gonna show just a small one just to prove a point. Like it's Lando, man. Like, come on.
Yeah. They didn't do a bad job. I mean, it's in the artist's.
No, it's not a terrible job. There are a lot of panels though where he looks much more animated and less distinguished
to the art. But I've seen way worse. Now that as Michael Keaton, I
Spider
cannot
Shadow.
I cannot defend that.
Yeah, he kind of looks more like Mr. Fantastic to me in this than he does Michael Keaton. I don't remember Michael Keaton having gray on the sides.
It looks like Lone Gruford or whoever. But that might the actor who played Mr. Fantastic. That was his name, wasn't it?
Yes, that British actor.
Lone Gruford. But that might be a good point though with the gray on the side, because this is the Batman 89 universe, but not necessarily takes place in 1989 because we don't know how much time has passed. We have Billy D dating Barbara Gordon. We have Batman running into this new Robin, which I can't remember his name. Like, you don't see Robin in the full costume, but in the back of other DC books this week, they do spoilers for Batman 89, whether it was intentional or not, but they show you design layouts and stuff for
go full screen. Let me see that.
For the series. So they show you Gordon, they show you Alfred, the Joker wannabes. You see Bat vehicles that have not appeared yet in the book.
What book is that?
This is Last Ride, but it's pretty much in all the DC books this week.
Really?
Yes.
And then
Oh,
there's
you're right.
Robin. So there's the Robin outfit that we have not seen yet in this series.
Right.
But
It's
yeah, so
kind of similar to what.
So this Robin's name is Richard Drake. So they have combined
Oh wow.
more than one existing Robins to create their own Robin unique to this universe, which there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Depends on if it's a good character or not.
Huh?
Says it depends on whether it's a good character or not.
Yeah. So far,
The name means nothing.
He's kind
spec
of
value. That's all I hear. Is spec value. We got a new Robin.
into a new Robin.
Yeah, it looks like Tim Drake with the costume a little bit like Damian too.
Damian, yeah, with the hood and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I was going to say they kind of introduced him kind of like a soft Robin Hood character. He's like stealing food for a baby to deliver, and that's how we get introduced to him.
Robin Hood, yeah, like you said.
Art style fits, says Nick. Amen, Mark. He played Two-Face and Lego Batman. That's pretty cool. They need sweaty armpit accurate though. Also, Rent a Girlfriend was hilarious. Billy D clapping. And Black and Cal. How do you say that?
Collects it.
It's a Canadian word, apparently.
Yeah.
No.
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 Look how fast he nailed it.
No.
All right. Did anyone read Last Ride? This was pretty cool. They're kind of just hitting on some action. This has been a slow burn action wise. The story is definitely focusing around the emotions and the fracturing of the team itself. And we did get to see how Martian Manhunter died and why Batman is being blamed, rightfully or wrongfully so. But he went out like a champ. It was really cool. And boy, when
this isn't the one where they were on the planet and Batman doesn't want to go to sleep, right?
No, this is the one.
Was the last issue.
That. Yeah, this is the one.
I'm an issue behind them.
They're on Apocalypse and they're trying to get into all the different areas of it while there's an armada from the interplanetary order, whoever, trying to cover up their war crimes. Basically, Lobo confesses that, slightly confesses, which they found weird that he didn't just come out and say what the full truth is, because Lobo has no problem just boasting. But basically, I forget what their name is, but they're in Justice League, they're in Future State, but the order of all the different planets coming together for the sake of peacekeeping that's been present since Future State. But
the planet alliance or whatever,
right?
The Planetary Alliance or whatever.
We're going to go with that. But they're apparently to blame for what happened on Oa, what happened with the New Gods. They hired Lobo is what it's looking like. And now they're trying to cover up their track. So we know from certain books on the timeline that Planetary Alliance has big superheroes kind of at the head of it, as well as Lois Lane, but not currently in continuity. So right here, with our first introduction timeline-wise, they're a little sketchy. They're very, very sketchy. And so you have the Justice League fighting against them at this point, basically. And Superman
is it just called the United Planets?
United Planet Alliance, maybe? I don't know.
That's crazy.
UP of A. Yeah.
No. But it was pretty cool. Like I said, you get to see Martian Manhunter go out like a champ. They had to get down to the center of Apocalypse to go shut some stuff down. And Batman can't get down there. Superman and Green Lantern are on Oa fighting Darkseid. You remember when he showed up? Sorry, I'm late. He's over there just beating the hell out of the both of them. And basically, Superman is on the comms with him and finds out John's about to go sacrifice himself at the core of this planet because he can't do fire. And Superman just bolts. Like, I mean, he takes off and he does not get there in time. And, for somebody like Superman, that's one of his biggest, like, things he considers as a failure is not being able to be there. And, it was rough, but it was really well written. I'm enjoying it. I like the pacing of it.
Batman was so ridiculous in that third issue.
He was.
I can control my own dreams.
I don't need to sleep.
I need an hour of sleep, and I dream for 15 minutes, and I can control the dream.
It was so over the top.
Jerk.
I was like,
It's just a
I
jerk.
don't know about this Batman.
Yeah, Chip Zdarsky's not a Batman fan.
Yeah. He's basically just like...
he's the one that put that post up about rooting for not wanting to write Batman because it's like beating up all these poor people and he's a millionaire or something.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about who's taking over Batman?
Oh, that's a good point.
That's a good discussion.
You want to like not start in the middle of the conversation and say why?
That's what I'm good at. All right, I'm good at interrupting people with my own thoughts.
Well, back up your thoughts about 3 thoughts. So James Tynion is leaving Batman and DC for Substack. That was like the big news that broke. I think that was this week, right?
Yeah,
Tuesday, wasn't it? Oh, Monday. Okay.
I don't even know anything about Substack. Can someone tell me what's happening there?
Ryan.
Yeah, we don't. Digital material. Ryan, help us out here.
Story without art.
Substack is basically a platform that allows you to send out email newsletter formatted posts. Those posts do remain archived on a website at a web address, so you can visit them later down the road. So it's not quite like a true newsletter, but whenever the person posts, it sends it to your email. And again, it's formatted as an HTML email, so it looks very pretty in your inbox and it's very easy to read.
So it's getting some love instantly from the chat here. Now, me and Ryan have talked about this a little bit, and a lot of people are already comparing this move to this digital platform that's completely creator operated, right? You're not beholden to any publisher, nothing like that, right, Ryan?
Mm-mm.
So there's been comparisons already to the big migration of Image Comics' formation with all the big names at the time just jumping ship to do their own thing. And my fear, not necessarily my fear, but my concern is that this isn't necessarily a bad idea, but is it time for that? Is this really the time to ask the general audience to move over to digital new platforms in an age where you have this weird middle ground? Like, I feel like I was born and exist in this middle ground where I grew up without smartphones, or I didn't even have a cell phone until I was in like high school. Smartphones didn't even come out till I was out of high school. So I have to talk to Ryan a lot about things like Discord and ask him what all these things are ahead of time and try to get an understanding of it. So is this really the right time to ask the general comic book audience to look to digital platforms, and not just digital platforms, some that we never even heard about? Is it going to be successful? Is it something that's early, or what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I'll let Ryan go first. I got thoughts.
Well, I mean, I guess to address what they're talking about in the chat, it's kind of like Patreon in the sense that there's multiple tiers, but there's only really 2 tiers to what these creators are doing right now. There's free, so you can subscribe to their newsletter for free, and they send out content as the free segment. It goes only to everybody that's subscribed to it, and you see that content. If you pay $7 a month or $75 a year, there's a separate newsletter that only goes to those paid subscribers. So all their general information, what books are coming out, what's going on, and plenty of promotional teasing for what they're doing on the other side, that all is going to exist in the free newsletter. To get the comics and stuff, you have to be subscribed to get the paid newsletter. And the other thing with it is like, it's because I see Promiscuous talking about how they haven't announced any big name artists yet. But really what Substack did is basically said, look, here's a ton of money. Use this to pay your expenses for the next year plus, and use this money to set up a business. And so that's really what this is about is you're going to get a weekly newsletter, a weekly paid newsletter, and each one is going to contain a comic that right now they're looking at around like 10 to 12 pages or so. And the goal for them, at least Tynan's angle on this is that he wants to basically he's setting up a studio where he can take up and coming writers and pair them with artists and publish them in his weekly newsletter. So not only are you going to be getting Tynan comic books, but you're kind of going to get a curated playlist of Tynan comic books where he's kind of training and bringing these people up in the industry. I guess something sort of like what Joe Hill did last year, the year before, with the Hill House imprint on DC. So that's kind of where they're at, is they're basically being given money so that they can just focus on creating.
And this is a cool point as well, because me and Ryan noticed something just hit us one week with Dark Horse, and I think it had to do with them selling their Alien franchise to Marvel. Like, what is Dark Horse doing currently? Like, why are they dropping like some of their stable stuff? You know what I mean? Like they kind of go up and down a lot over the years. You know what I mean? But this is interesting to hear that Scott Snyder, big name, comes with a fan base, is going to be doing Substack as well, but he'll be later Comixology. I'm sorry, but he'll be later having his books on print through Dark Horse. So that's a power play on Dark Horse. I wonder if that was in the works anywhere.
Well, Snyder announced that maybe a month ago or 2 weeks ago or something. He announced that he penned a big deal with Comixology, and he's kind of doing the same thing. Like, he's going to have like a studio imprint sort of thing on Comixology, but those books will be going through Dark Horse for physical publishing. And Tynan and Zdarsky and Scotty Young, and Jonathan Hickman have all guaranteed that all of their books will be seeing print, the ones that they're doing on Substack. Those will see print. They don't know exactly what the timeline is on that, so you'll probably be getting earlier access through Substack. And they don't know exactly who will be putting those out yet, but they have all guaranteed that any books they make will be going to print through somewhere. They just haven't decided where yet.
Dude, that'll be interesting to see where it lands. Steve, real quick, what are your thoughts? You said you had some.
I do. What's that?
I said beginner's luck.
I am all for everyone always doing what's best for them. If you feel like you have the best contract in front of you to allow you to do what's you believe is best, then you should take that. Obviously, we have figured out over the last few years, while James Tynion IV is a great writer on Batman, his best work has been in the independent field. And he obviously is going to be getting paid more doing the Substack stuff. So I'm all about that, like 100%. I do think it's kind of a big risk, though, going to the digital way. But, I mean, I think everyone thought the same thing about the internet when that first came out, too. So it's a big risk, but with a big reward as well. It does make it harder for us. Just like when DC and Marvel both left Diamond, it's making it harder for us. But also from a business standpoint, I completely understand. So I'm not liking it. I'm not going to pay anything for it. But
well, I do got to say real quick, when DC switched to Lunar, it made my life so much better. Because when no books were coming out,
living hell.
Books came out. I'm off on Tuesdays. DC said, to hell with your Wednesday crap. We're going to give y'all books as soon as we can get y'all books, which I think is fantastic.
It's made it a complete living hell for me. Like, there's been 3, 4, 5 weeks where my shop hasn't gotten their books. Or sometimes they get them a week early, and it's just, and then he's having to go from Diamond to Lunar, and then now Marvel leaving as well. Like, I can tell he's just.
I definitely think it's harder for the shop owners having to order from multiple places, and also they're no longer getting the reduced shipping costs, I'm sure, as well. But yeah, that's just me personally. I'm not saying.
I've heard nothing but bad things. Nothing but bad things about Diamond. So
yeah, they got too comfortable in their monopoly. It wasn't them that were to blame for the monopoly. Obviously, there's other places. Marvel and DC went other places, and it wasn't the first time that this has happened either, that someone's left Diamond, but they eventually came back. But anyways, real quick, I wanted to ask, does anybody know about the structuring or way that these creators are going to be making money through Substack versus contracts and agreements with publishers? How does that work?
I'm assuming it'll be like Patreon, where like I think Patreon takes what, like 12% or 15% or something like that. And so I'm assuming, like,
It
based
varies.
off what I've heard, is that they offered him like a lump sum, and then over time, like that'll slowly be taken out and given back to them. So after like a year or two, then everything after that, he'll just be making all the money off him. So it's almost like I'm paying you up front until you can pay me back. Well, you're still going to keep getting paid. Just there's going to be a small percentage that goes back to Substack, and then after that, then maybe you'll start making all of your own. I don't know. That was from Nick over Two Bros.
So that's a
so I don't know.
That's a bold
Well,
move.
Here's what the deal is that I've been able to find. Basically, Substack gave them a huge upfront grant. So they gave them, like, it sounds like probably $1 million each or something. And then for the first year, Substack is taking like 80 to 90% of the monthly subscription income. After that first year, then they'll only be taking 10%. So the creators aren't going to be making a lot off of those monthly payments this first 12 months. But then after that, they'll be getting 90% of subscriptions they maintain beyond that.
Wow.
And this is interesting to see as well. Thank you. Go to bed, please. Go to bed.
I think for like the standard person, like you can set one up. Anybody can set up a Substack. And I think the standard is like 10% or something like that that Substack takes. So pretty much they'll be going to a regular deal after the first year. But for that first year, Substack basically gets almost all of the monthly subscription.
YouTube should learn from that and stop taking 30%. They take 30% of my.
This is really interesting. Substack is not a publicly traded company yet, and it's owned by one individual.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and like a year or two ago, he got a startup infusion of like $68 million or something. And that's what has been going, because this isn't the first time. Like back in the fall, I think it was fall 2020, Substack basically used the same thing for the journalism industry. They went and paid a bunch of journalists that were sick and tired of being told what they could and couldn't write in print and stuff. And they went and gave them a huge chunk of money and put them on these like year grant things so that they would move over to Substack and do their journalism through there.
How is that?
Well, I mean, we're almost at a year now, so it's really waiting to be seen, because one of the things that we're not going to know, like we're probably going to know how they feel about how much money they made, but we're probably not going to know the exact number, right? But for $75, you get a year subscription to that newsletter. So we're really not going to know anything until like 14, 15 months down the road, when all those year-long subscriptions start to run out, if people renew or not. And then we'll see the creators, they're going to start either doing more for traditional publishers, or they're going to stick it out as Substack because enough people renewed or at least continued their subscriptions.
And with journalism, that's a whole different animal altogether, because their subscriptions and the people that buy into theirs, they can jack the prices on theirs, because any kind of digital online news source or any kind of visual news source, they don't go get the news. They literally pull it from journalists, from people that write it. They go get it from them. So having journalists on Substack forces outlets like digital news outlets or TV outlets even to subscribe to Substacks versus just paying people to bring them their individual stories.
And there's like a whole other world there too. I mean, think about something like Reddit, where Reddit has all these sub-communities and like this very intricate community. Like it's like a different kind of society, it's structured very differently. Substack's kind of the same thing. They can, like you can get published by these different publications. They can pick you up and move your stuff, all these different things. So there's a lot of ways to really like double down on this. And these people could, put things everywhere. They can make comics a big deal. This is a huge society to be bought into so early. Oh, it's optional. It's the Oh, that was the other thing. Like Substack, your paid ones, you can set your price. So this is apparently a price that Substack has decided. They probably gave them numbers like, hey, look, if you charge $7 a month, this is, how the numbers work out to pay back all that money that we just gave you. So the way all of those are being run right now, it's $7 a month, or you can pay $75 and have access for the whole year.
Gotcha.
And then they all even had like a limited amount of like super spots called like founders tier or something like that, or some play on that. It was like $250 for a year subscription with a bunch of other bonus stuff. Like Tynan gave out like 6 exclusive covers from books he's done in the past and stuff.
Now, I told Ryan when we were talking that I'm going to be very get off my lawn about this whole Substack thing.
Let's hear it.
I don't care what sounds good or what sounds bad. I'm not doing it. I'm not learning a new platform. I'm not forking out extra money to put into a separate thing right now. No matter how good of an idea, bad of an idea is not even relevant. It's just not where I'm at. I don't have the time to learn. I don't have the time to do it. I don't have time to sit down and pull up. But I don't even have time to open a separate app in my life right now. I've talked to Ryan about this. How long did it take y'all to get me on Instagram?
Too long.
I bailed on one social media platform altogether just to be able to be present on Instagram. I don't post a lot on there.
Hold on. Are you willing to give up Facebook for Substack, though?
I don't have Facebook. I mean, I have
Facebook.
Okay. I don't use it. I bailed Facebook.
That's the road you're going down.
I got enough time in my life kind of for like one thing to keep up with. Now I still have a Facebook page and I'll pop on there. I don't think I've posted on Facebook in over a year now almost, but I'm just not with it. Not with it at all. If they want to go to print or if they want to offer digital into an existing digital comic reading platform, I'll definitely think about checking it out if it's stories that interest me or whatnot. But I did tell Ryan that I think it's too soon for this. I think that this was going to be something that they try out, that it might start out strong, but it's going to fall off, but it's going to be a great experiment for what comes next. This is MySpace. Whatever comes next is Facebook, and it'll work. Y'all remember MySpace?
It's hard to disagree. Like, my thoughts on it.
Tom.
That was the picture. You're right.
Yeah.
My take on it is, I thought it was like the one thing that collectively we've talked about is that we kind of felt like Tynan's hands are being tied with the franchise title that he was tasked with for basically with 15, 20 issues now his run has been. And we kept saying like we're waiting for we got a lot of this foundation going on. There's a lot of foundation building, but it's time to give us a stake. We're tired of the sizzle. And when he made his announcements, he fired some shots, let's be honest, like at the whole idea of editing at DC, and how, to me, what came across was how unhappy he was handling, that franchise character. And it's something that we collectively we'd spoken about for a very long time now. I'm kind of I saw Joe and Scott mention that they like just to read comic books. They like it in their hands. I'm that same way too. But the one thing that I can remember, what was mentioned earlier with the artist that left Marvel and DC and went and formed Image, was what was left at Marvel and DC was a whole wide array of brand new talent that got to show off their skills. And I'm kind of thinking that's what's going to happen here. Like with with a lot of powerhouse writer names right now leaving, and God knows what artists are going to be following with them. Like, we could probably guess who's going to be going with Scott Snyder. We could probably guess who's going to be going with James Tynion. But I think it's going to open the door to a whole lot of brand new writers and artists that we haven't heard of before, like what happened with Image, kind of come through the Substack thing. But unlike Image, I'm kind of with Mark on this one. Like, until James Tynion mentioned Substack before, I've never heard of it. And I like to think that I'm somewhat up on social media, and this was left field for me. Even though like collectively, I digress. We felt that Tynion is like, his writing made it seem like he was unhappy with DC. But yeah, I'm kind of like I'm just old school. Like it's one thing to go to a comic book app to read a comic book. It's another thing now for me to spend more time to hunt stuff down and to take time out of my normal life to read something completely different to try to be satisfied with that comic book itch that happens, once a week.
Let me tell you something.
I want it this way.
Read. Yeah, not everything that comes out is a digital format read for me, because again, I'm in this weird middle ground where I can read digital. I'm definitely more than capable of it. Half the books that come out every week I read digitally, and a few of the ones that I even pick up in hard copy I read digital. But I'm not all there. Like some stuff, like we talked about it with Spider Shadow a couple issues back. I read my copy digital, and it was a horrible experience because the layout of the book. Not all books are geared for the layouts to work as smoothly digital. You miss reveals and terms. Like a lot of these books, the way they're laid out, are meant for page turning. Like Suicide Squad Get Joker is a perfect example of how they did scene transitions. They timed it with page turning. Like Red Hood was in mid-sentence asking, well, how do you expect us to get, and you turn the page and they're cut scene to the team walking on a helipad all together to a helicopter. Like you lose a lot of that in digital unless you're specifically writing for digital, and then you have that in mind. Which I was talking to this creator at the Augusta Book Exchange for Local Creators Day that they hosted, and he was there in the shop in real time coloring his book that he created, and it's meant and it's only digital, and he was taking advantage of that vertical layout where he would take panels and drag them extra long so that it gives you that feel of suspense and stuff and waiting, which I thought was super interesting. But yeah. It's a valid point.
It's
shots fired again.
Burke fam. I'll tell you that much. Which, by the way, I think we're going to do a members only stream on Tuesday.
Is the family tier the high end one, or is that the entry level one? What's the entry level one called?
Supporter.
Okay.
Supporter, friend, and family.
Okay.
I recommend the family tier. The value, and I pointed this out before. If you
so does Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, family.
Well done.
If you run one of those, if you win one of the Burke boxes,
I have a Corona.
That one Burke box you win covers like an annual subscription. You know what I mean? Like the value of the last one, and this isn't like the spec value, the current ratio retail value. It's just like the legit value of the box was like at $180, not counting the original art piece in it from Austin LeMay.
If you win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you win like one within a year, like you didn't waste any money. And if you're somebody that buys mystery boxes, you know all about the value of a box. You know what I mean? Like in all sincerity, not saying that jokingly. I don't want to say throwing money away, but you eventually get your money back when you hit. You know what I'm saying? And there's all kinds of other stuff that's involved with it. That's not the only perk. But anyway,
you're my official hype man.
Yeah.
I'm good at doing it. Just good at plugging.
I appreciate it. I didn't want to say too much because we're on your channel. We need to be pumping you up, which you're getting close to 1K subs, man.
Gotta get to 900 first.
So what are the tiers going to be called? The Legionnaire, and then like have you thought about that?
I might do tiers. I might not do tiers. I might just do one level.
Just do like one, like at like $8 or $9.
Hey Steve, don't tell me what to do.
$8 or $9.
I need to know what that transfers in Canadian though, because I don't want Chris to be.
Chris
is like a week's salary, man. $8 or $9. You guys are crooks. Capitalism in its finest form, south of the border. $8 or $9 a month. Where's my soapbox?
Do you get a newsletter? Steve, you got to start doing a newsletter.
Do we get some Ryan short stories with the $8 or $9?
And I'm speaking about Ryan short stories. He does have a Patreon that he never promotes. But I am a Patreon member of his, and he does do a lot of writing and stuff that you can get. Like he put a little teaser out there on Instagram this past week with a micro story that was really cool. He did a short story that he entered a competition that he didn't blast it out there, but he shared it inside some of our groups. That was fantastic. Yes. But he's also been, I can't even pronounce the word even after you've explained it to me, Steve. The In Remembrance of story.
What was the
Captain
word?
Quixotic.
Captain what?
Quixotic.
And that word means.
I thought it was Quixote.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But, and I'm not even Canadian.
That's derivative, sir.
North of the border, man. I don't care.
Oh my God! Hold on, let me fix.
Is Canada now not recognizing international copyright?
Slap a disclaimer on Chris real quick.
Who else?
Yeah.
No idea Ryan had a Patreon because he never promotes it.
He never does.
All the time.
He never promotes it.
So
on
humble. He's so humble.
He was gone
Humble
for a
and
while.
handsome.
I feel like I never stopped talking about it. So
Ryan was gone for like 3 weeks. It felt like.
Mhm. Dude, we both fell off at the same time, but for different reasons.
You guys fell off the face of the earth.
We are one.
Hey, what are we
went
going to
to
review
Mexico.
Thursday? What do you guys want to review Thursday?
Comics, man.
Well, which, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys. Chris from Lost in Comics is going to be on.
Oh, nice.
Not the comic bit.
Don't know that.
He's not allowed.
I don't have $8 or $9
I'm
to
just
throw his
kidding.
way, apparently.
So, Lost in Comics has been doing a weekly Thursday show. Normally, like right before or right during.
There it is. There it is.
Wow. There's our
Hashtag
hashtag
humble
for when we
hater.
introduce Ryan. The humble
Hashtag
hater.
Humble hater.
Well done,
That is
Carlito.
amazing. Thank you so much, Carlito. That's not
Nice. Yeah,
We got to write that down somewhere.
I'll put it in the banners as we speak.
Okay. Oh, man. Sorry, Steve.
You're all good.
Okay, the other Chris, yeah.
Lost in Comics, Chris and Oscar do a Thursday show where they actually interview some like writers and whatnot every once in a while. Anyways, we've been talking a long time about doing like a show where I'm on theirs and they're on ours. So I'm going to be on theirs for an hour, and then he's going to come on and join our show as well. So just wanted to tell you, Chris from Lost in Comics is on
I
Thursday.
still have this one in here from a couple of shows ago when he was in like an exceptionally posive mood.
Oh,
And everyone in the chat, you remember everyone in the chat was like, Ryan's so happy today.
Yeah, and then our world went upside down.
And then we got back.
I don't even remember that.
But yeah, I'm glad that Steve said that because Chris is like the most popular
Yeah.
name on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't know who. I'm familiar with the name Lost in Comics, but when I asked about it not too many days ago, I think I asked Steve about it. We were talking about it, but I had to go and look up their channel, and I was already subscribed to it. But there's just so many out there, man. And
There are. There's not that many Canadian channels. I only know of 2.
I know of 3.
3. I know 3.
Yeah, TM and Adrian Drac. Yeah, Adrian.
What about Promiscuous
so-
Time Traveler?
He's
Is he
Californian.
Canada?
Yeah. Okay. So there's
Huh?
He's from LA.
There's
Yeah, he's in California, man.
Yeah, he's from
California?
LA.
Oh.
Drac,
Oh, I didn't even know that.
TM, Newbie.
Yeah, Newbie. Yeah, Newbie's Niagara Falls area. TM is out on the Atlantic part of Canada, and Drac is more in the Toronto area.
Stalk much?
No, man, I just pay attention to what people say.
Seeing one, you've seen them all.
As you're like, no, man, PTT's in California, man.
Well, that's because I know Kyle. He hangs out every Friday in the Legion Community Hangout.
Like 3
Yeah.
times.
I was listening. He was like
Friday
working in his yard and stuff.
in other people's yard half the time.
Yeah, he was like,
See them one, you see them all.
he was like, that lady
Yeah.
scares me, and I was like, well, what kind of Canadian neighbor is scary? So that makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
We're rare. There's only 40
Where does
million of
Tyler
us.
live?
Team CGC 9.8.
Tyler's in Indiana.
Okay. Where does
You know, Gary?
Carl live? Let's
I
keep
have
this
no
going.
idea. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know where Carlito is. Sorry, my man.
Carlito's
Uh,
probably not sorry.
Like, I think Ryan said that a few times now that he thought he was Canadian. California.
As soon
I
as
gotta
saw
admit,
him roller
I thought he was
skate,
Canadian too when I heard him speak.
he hopped on live roller skating one time. Like, yeah, he's not in Canada. And then,
Why,
and then
you want to
Nick,
claim that mess?
Nick hopped on roller skating last week, and before he got home and hopped back on the computer. We've had Remy hop on live from his shower, legit. We had people hop on like digging up yards to lay new pipes, cutting down trees, showering. It's the place to be every Friday morning.
You never know what'll happen.
I don't know where Steve is now that
Carlito's
I'm
in
thinking
Iowa?
that
I thought he was one of those
I'm gonna
Kansas
guess.
guys.
He's part of the.
I'm gonna guess where
literally
Steve
in the
is.
middle of the United States. In fact, according to Frank Miller and John Romita Jr., I went to the same college and had the same major as Superman. So there you go.
I thought so. You're in Kansas. I thought you were in like Missouri.
When you say the middle of the United
Hell no.
States, that's just East Texas.
Hell no. I don't live in Missouri. Kansas.
You're in Kansas. Okay.
You're right in the middle.
Kansas.
America's
Kansas.
heartland.
You're not in Arkansas. You're just in Kansas.
Surprisingly, no, Dan, that you would assume maple syrup, but it's actually ketchup chips.
All I know is I smell like heaven.
yeah, he does.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't say anything else. Becker, I got a story to tell you when I see you on Friday.
So Becker,
Well, Steve will be excited because next week is Flash 773, Nightwing 83, and Power Rangers 10.
And Shazam #2.
I'm not. I was excited for Shazam, but now I'm not excited for Shazam. I'm only excited for the last 3 pages of issue 3 and issue 4 because had you participated heavily in, not you, but if you're somebody who read heavily in Future State, we're just walking over a road that we've been down before. Just seeing it, like if someone like explains to you in very vivid detail what happened in a movie or a TV show, and then you go and watch it. That's what we're thinking of this Shazam short story.
Wow. Joe's just firing off, man.
I'll tell you what, that was probably the funnest live stream we've ever done that night. Like we laughed.
That was.
I did a whole live stream with Canadian YouTubers once.
Was it intentional or an accident?
No, it was. I did it on purpose.
Whoa!
I mean, I don't know if it's a thing. Like I don't check people's like geography, ethnicity, race, or anything before I decide to make content.
It was Newbie. It was Team CGC 9.8, and then the Canadian comic collector, who doesn't even post anymore. So I
believe he was in Toronto. But,
what is up, Huey? Oh yeah, Pokemon's here.
Yeah, actually, Dracula reached out to me and said that he wanted to put together an all Canadian live stream, and he wanted to do it in the middle of the week. And I was, it's not racist.
No discriminating.
Nationalist.
Yeah,
it's culture based. We're in it for the culture. But he wanted to do it in the middle of the week, and sadly, as some of you know, I work the afternoon shift doing what I do for a living, and I just said, well, if you change your mind, you want to do it on the weekend, sure, but I don't think anyone will be watching because the Americans will have absolutely no interest in hearing what we have to say. We have to jump on their live streams like this one.
True.
And make ourselves heard that way.
Yeah, because you've never seen me in your live chats, have you, Chris?
What'd you say, Chris? I wasn't listening.
Right. And that's why I give my $8 or $9 a month to Mark. Cranky Chris, come on.
Cranky.
I'm in a good mood.
Like, there's so many of these hashtags just preloaded in here. I just noticed that on accident. Like, this is perfect.
No. Is there a hashtag Burke fam?
There's not.
Did y'all read?
We have one of these, though.
Shots fired.
There you go.
Hold on. So my girlfriend said to me one time, she goes, until like you actually said that phrase in Two Cool Guys, I thought it was we are religion.
kind of the opposite.
Amazing. That is
And I'm like,
That's perfect.
he says it all the time.
I think Finn even pronounces it better than someone to get that messed up.
But yeah, when I looked at it again, I'm like, I can see how you say it, we a religion, but yeah, it's okay.
That is pretty cool of you
We're
to date
religion.
somebody who's illiterate. I mean, everybody needs that. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
We're about to bring it back to the book because I was about to bring it back to the books right now and ask everybody if they watched What If.
Hell
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk What If real quick. What did
Sure.
everybody think? This is the first episode, so we were introduced to the animation style that they'll be using, as well as the format the show's taking with an intro from the Watcher and an exit from the Watcher. He's our guide through the multiverse, and it looks like they did a great job of pulling this directly from DC's Legends of the Dark Multiverse, where you have Tempest Fugonaut take you through the multiverse and introduce you to these stories and the specific reason why this world exists the way it does, which was nothing to do with the comics What If, but that was the format of DC's run, which I thought that was the first thing that stood out to me. I'm like, oh, this is Tempest Fugonaut's job. It's pretty cool. But I did like the fact Jeffrey Wright is voicing him. He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
I thought the episode was close to perfect, for sure. I don't know. I just thought it was really good.
It was. I like the shell shading that they used, the animation style. It was really smooth.
The animation was so slick. Whenever she like launches off and hits the wall and then comes down, the way it follows and moves through all the shadows, I thought that was well done.
So it's 100% CGI is the way that they did it. It's just no different than watching Shrek or something. That's your age, but watching Shrek or something, it's just done to make it look like cartoon animation, but it's not cartoon. It is, and the only reason I point that out is because I saw a lot of people raving about the animation, and even some people thinking that it was like, you know, like a Scanner Darkly where they have actors come in and they just animation over them. It is not, but it was a great animation style, and it's really cool. But I enjoyed the show. It was cool seeing Steve Rogers and like the first Iron Man. Like in this multiverse, they got the Tesseract or the Cosmic Cube and used it as the arc reactor to fire up the suit and called it the Hydra Stomper, and it did its thing, and it was a blast. The ending of it was very reminiscent of the first Hellboy movie with Ron Perlman when they open the portal and bring the old god from H.P. Lovecraft stories into the fight, all the way down to her picking up the big sword and chopping tentacles and stuff. But it was a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool that they went through and like remixed the whole story, and it's not just like, what if Steve Rogers was a girl, you know, but like, what if Peggy Carter, you know, became Captain America, and like, it gave different angles and different facets for that story to be told instead of just telling us the same story with the gender swapped character.
Yeah. Now, Rotoscope, that's the name of it with the actors that they just paint over, I believe. Rotoscope.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a dull moment in it. Now, I did, and man, people might blast me for this if you want, but you can definitely tell that Captain America was pre-Disney, the first Avenger movie, and this one is post-Disney. So you can see where the major difference is, because Disney does not miss an opportunity to lean heavily into social issues of the day or hot topic stuff. And not only in this universe did Peggy Carter become the first Avenger, in this universe, every single man that exists is a chauvinist piece of shit.
Yes.
Can we swear?
They lean so heavy into it. You've already said that word one time. I'm just trying to balance out with you.
Oh.
Yeah. Check the playback. But they did lean really heavy into that, to like every time they were introduced to a character, they had something to say that show them that they're sexist as hell. Like Dum Dum Dugan, Bucky. They took Tommy Lee Jones' character, who is a comical, smart-ass general, and turned him into just to a horrible person. Like he was a horrible person, not just being sexist, but trying to take credit for, like, it was like, I don't necessarily feel like that was necessary in this time era. That is how things were, but not to this degree probably. And they also forget that Peggy Carter is a woman of power, period. Like even
period. I would agree with that.
She's a superior officer in her military. That's why she's even there to begin with amongst men. So it kind of, to me, that stood out as like, this doesn't fit the format of her even existing in this room. She wouldn't even have this level of whatever it's called, authority, if, it's just kind of a little off balance there.
Now, did you feel that was Disney trying to drive home the point of a sexist era? Or did you, or I kind of took it was the ongoing joke throughout the entire episode?
I don't know. With Disney, I think that they were just trying to point it out because, I mean, like there's nothing wrong with talking about like social issues at all, but with Disney, they tend to do it more often than not. It's kind of like it's part of their brand to expect that kind of stuff to have a message in it that they're really going to drive home. I mean, that's what they do. It's just part of their brand at this point to make sure that they spotlight social issues and really push them, which is a good thing. It's been a common thread through comics forever, but you have to find your proper balance with it. Again, go back to the earlier conversations with DC race swapping Lois for an issue to tell that story, drug awareness, like with whatever it is. Like there's a way to deliver it properly where it's part of a story, and there's a way to deliver it where it's standing out in your story. The difference is good writing. That's all. It being present isn't the difference. It's just the good writing or not. How well can you put it in here?
I thought that the runtime was a little short on the story, to be honest with you. I did like the fact that we had that Cthulhu type of character show up at the end and Peggy Carter. and then I like the fact that they gave us that little bit of the Easter egg at the end where Steve woke up in today's society where basically Peggy's dealing with the same thing. I agree with Ryan. They changed enough of the original story to make it her own, and to the point where I was just like, oh, this is not a carbon copy. It's just, it's just a true what if. And I do like the fact that the what if casting is trying to keep as many as the original actors in it.
They did a good job with it.
I am very much looking forward to the last bit of work that Chadwick Boseman did for Black Panther for his what if story, and and the Spider-Man story as well. But I thought this was a good jumping on point.
Absolutely.
At first, I thought
what's coming. That's for sure. It was fun.
I thought when I realized it was going to be hers first, I thought, really, like, do they really need to lead with a Captain America story? But after it went off, I kind of realized, well, maybe they're going to just do a timeline where, okay, she's the first Avenger. Now we're going to carry on that way, and whichever one is going to be the what if story that's most recent should probably be the last one in that series, unless they're going to give us phases the way that the MCU was originally rolled out.
Yeah, absolutely agree, Mars. It would be weird if they were not, but if you go back again and watch the first Avengers, I know this comment might be a little bit old. There were sexist remarks and like Tommy Lee Jones joking and messing with her and downplaying her importance and stuff like that. And again, it not being present would be weird. It's just and this goes for any kind of anything they're putting into comics like that. It's just the level of which you deliver it. Is it part of your story, or does it stand out in your story? And for me, it started standing out when they went to go rescue everybody, and Dum Dum Dugan had something to say, and then directly behind his comment, Bucky had something to say, and it's just they're just going down the checklist of making sure every character has something to say about her being a woman, which, I mean, I don't think that anybody, like in context of the story, would be like, oh, I didn't know a woman can fight when an Amazon with a shield comes in there wearing the first ever superhero costume. I don't think the first thing you're thinking is, shouldn't that be a man? You'd probably be thinking, what is that? Where did that come from? It didn't feel like it was smooth storytelling. Like that conversation, I'm sure, to be had, like when the not wanting her to get the serum, that definitely, like wanting someone else to get in there, like that fit. Like, Howard, you do it. No, we don't know. Like, just not having faith in it. Like, I thought all that fit. There were just times when I was like, that my response would definitely be vastly different. But I also didn't live in the 1940s, so
We also didn't get much of the footage where everyone that was a chauvinist towards her gave her respect at the end. Basically, because at the battle with Cthulhu that she had, she was gone. Again, I kind of felt that the runtime was a little short. We could have had a lot more, a lot more dialogue after she rescued that team and after the train scene as well. But I did think when Steve went down with the train, I thought, oh, they're turning Steve into Bucky, and maybe we're gonna get a Winter Soldier where Steve is the what if story where Steve's the Winter Soldier. That would be terrific. But then he came back.
Poor Bucky, man.
Yeah, but then he came back.
Can't catch a break. It reminded me of the Butterfly Effect movie back in the day with Ashton Kutcher, where he went to try to save his girl. No matter what, she's destined for horrible things that lead to death. Like you're just changing the way it's going to happen. Some things are just meant to be. Yeah, and that squid monster at the end of Hellboy, it's got this weird name, Ugdru Jihad. The giant squid, the space squids and the crystals and stuff. Cthulhu is like an old god here. And if you're a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft, check out the movie Underwater with Kristen Stewart. Talk about a surprise ending. It's basically Alien, but underwater without like a xenomorph. But the claustrophobic feel of being like somewhere where no one can hear you scream and fighting to survive and everything around you is capable of killing you. It is got the biggest twist ending you'll ever see. It is so good. Got a bunch of wrestling fans in the chat. I can't tell you much about wrestling anymore. Scott, that was a bad movie. We need to get a Grumpy Scott hashtag.
He was more of a Leviathan fan.
I think he's more of a Showgirls fan, but whatever. No, wrestling's fine, my man. I'm out of the loop on it. I am aware that AEW is the up and comer. They're almost comparable. I was watching a commercial for them, and I'm like, this is like a modern day WCW with better potential for longevity than WCW had because there's no Eric Bischoff involved, probably. I can tell you about like late 90s, early 2000s wrestling all day, like the Attitude Era and WCW at its prime. Yeah. Definitely don't be sorry. The butt plug effect.
But so does anyone know what's next for What If? What story they're going to be tackling?
Normally when they have these shows up on the app, they show you the one that's available and then the one sitting there for next week. It's locked. I noticed they did not have next week.
They seem dark. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the day of, they didn't have it at all. It was just that one episode. So, yeah, on the app, you can't even scroll down and see a second episode. It's just what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? Not was the first Avenger, were the first Avenger. It doesn't roll off the tongue. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? I'm ready for the Marvel Zombies episode, though.
Yeah, it looks like Buck is going to be the star of that show, right?
I don't know. On the image here, like I really don't know nothing about this series or what's coming, but on the image on the app, you have a Hawkeye and Cap in the picture there. I don't know.
I know about the zombies. I know about there's going to be a Black Panther story.
Gamora's in Thanos' outfit with his weapon from Endgame in this image as well.
And I believe the what if is if the Spider-Man what if is if Spider-Man were to become the Sorcerer Supreme. So we'll see.
Chris, do you have any idea how to Cardboard Crazies, Chris, because it is the most popular name on YouTube. Do you have any idea how to get to like ask to be on that list to get early access to content for reviewing purposes, or if you have to be a certain company or somebody or whatever? Because it would be cool to reach out to and see if you couldn't get in some kind of like review game or something. And y'all did hear that they put out a little thing that said that they pulled a Spider-Man episode because it was too scary. That's That's what it said. There was an article out that Disney.
I think it's just a hype train.
It might be. They said that they had a Spider-Man episode written for it. I don't know how far into production or anything that it might have gone, but they had an idea or an episode written for Spider-Man that they deemed was too scary and off-brand and didn't fit what they were doing, so they decided not to do it.
An episode of What If?
Yeah.
Right. So that's how we got the Sorcerer Supreme Spider-Man.
And while they're writing Spider Shadow, they're like, the scary Spider-Man story is not on brand.
Just that's the Sinister Six, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, Carlito. I can just remember now and say, do you know who I know?
He has a StreamYard affiliate link.
Got an affiliate link
know
for
who I am. I would never say that to someone. You guys always say that to me. I would never say that to someone.
The only thing about the Spider-Man episode is they can't use Peter Parker's name, so it'll likely be Ben Reilly. That is, I didn't think about that with Spider-Man's agreement with Sony or anything, but I cannot imagine them doing Ben Reilly simply because I don't see them doing any original comic content. If you have not seen or been introduced to it in the MCU movies, I do not expect to see it in this show.
They're all gonna be what ifs based off the movies and nothing else. It's not gonna be comic book related that way. Just so whatever film they're gonna be what ifing, that's what it's gonna be about.
Yeah. But that would be cool because I do enjoy me some Ben Reilly. You know, I really started reading comic books beyond just looking at the pages in the 90s. And that Disaster Clone Saga was a big deal, as well as Ben Reilly being Spider-Man for a while. And Scarlet Spider hit the scene with that amazing costume with the blue hood and everything. Like, come on, man. That's awesome.
Did y'all read Hardware?
I did not. I still haven't gotten around to it. I'm blurry. Blurry. I don't know.
I thought it was good. Yeah. I think Icon and Rocket was better, but it was still pretty good. I like the art style. It's got like this very like ugly, beautiful take to it. Although sometimes they're a little off model, and sometimes the panel work isn't always great. But I like the style.
I heard that Cocan Joe, his review, he said he enjoyed it, and he still enjoyed Icon and Rocket better, but definitely way better than Static, he said.
Yeah, this was definitely better than Static.
Very.
I liked Icon and Rocket better.
So is it the same character that's Static again from what it was in the 90s? Like, did they just like offshoot this character then? Like is it just first story is just
Virgil
weak?
Hawkins, but
right.
It's like dark and brooding Virgil Hawkins, which
really
like my wife. Yeah, this show just dropped on Netflix called All American, and my wife has been like watching the crap out of it. I think it's a CW show because it has Greg Berlanti's name on it.
It's been 2 or 3 seasons now.
Yeah, and so like I kind of see what Static is going for because like this All American show, it's like a teen drama. You know, it's like all these kids in high school that look like they're 25 or something. And like all of these kids, like they all have like super serious life problems, and they're always like brooding about all the problems they have in the world and stuff.
They're all rich kids except for one, and yeah, like you said, they're all complaining about all these problems they have, and the one that's not rich is just an angry teenager, and it's the same thing for 30 episodes, and it's like I can only watch so many episodes of an angry teenager.
Oh my god, I walk by every now and then, and I'm just like, oh my god, what are you watching?
I watch almost every episode, and it's just like every time I watch, I'm like, why did I just watch that?
Yeah. It's like a really bad version of Friday Night Lights or something.
Yes, Friday Night Lights was good.
But anyway, yeah, my point is like this seems to be what like teenage driven stuff is right now. So if that's what they're trying to make Static be relatable to, it kind of makes sense they went in that direction, but it's really just like weird.
Yeah. Hulk is another character I doubt we'll see in this because he's only allowed to be used in ensemble films where he's a supporting character. He's still owned by Universal. They still have the rights for him. which is weird because like with the supporting characters, just like with Sony, they can do like Venom and all these. We already have Abomination showing up in Shang-Chi, and he was in the Incredible Hulk. I remember when that happened with Batman animated, they rejected the adaptation of Kelly Jones' Batman vs. Dracula because they didn't want Batman sucking on people, kind of like the Catwoman thing. They did do that, the Batman vs. Dracula movie, and with Morbius in the Spider-Man TV show back in the 90s, they would not allow him to bite people, so they changed him to where he had it on his hands, and he was,
which is like 10 times creepier. Like
vaginas on his hands that suck your life out.
Like Stargirl's armpit.
Yeah, it was very odd.
Did you say vaginas that suck your life out?
Yeah, I did.
Morbius the succubus.
Yeah, we're just trying to be accurate here.
What about Campisi? I know somebody was talking about that book the other day.
Oh man, that's definitely Promiscuous Time Traveler. I think you read it while he was hanging out.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
Prostate checkers and started reading comics.
Oh, it's so good. It's really good. It's very well done. Like whenever he goes to, because like the main character, he's a fixer for the mob. And like whenever he goes to like talk to the mob bosses and stuff, like it sucks you into like the Goodfellas, man. Like dude knows how to like really like separate those two worlds. Like when he's in the neighborhood and he's a good guy and he's like working with all the neighborhood people and he's like fixing stuff for the mob, it's like, oh man, yeah, like this is a good guy. And then he like goes into the restaurant, you know, and they go to the back room and it just like gets real seedy and the boss is like, I don't care, you know, like we're gonna whack this guy because he's skimming money off the top. And you know, like, and then the way they tie it in with all the dragon stuff, like very well done. Just like a masterful mashup of like two weird things that seem so disparate, but he brings them together very well.
Kyle says it's unnecessarily good, caught him off guard. Tyler told him to read it.
Which is like, you know, like that's what I forget what this guy's name is, but he also wrote Kaiju Score, and Kaiju Score is like, what if you had a kaiju movie and you stuck a heist plot in the middle of it? And so he like does like the heist stuff really good, like the planning, the unique characters and stuff. Like they have a guy in there, like nothing's ever gone right. So like the mission always goes wrong at some point. So you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop on that, you know, and you got like all these unique characters. It's like their first score and stuff. Like it's a well put together team, like Ocean's 11 style, you know. And then, but then you put that in the world of kaiju, and like they have it set up sort of like if you live in a disaster area, you know, like for us we have hurricanes, right? So they can track the kaiju feeding patterns. And so then they kind of know when a kaiju is going to come on shore, and they have like protocols and emergency systems and stuff in place for when that happens. And so this guy is like going to steal a bunch of money while a kaiju comes ashore, except for everything goes wrong. And like it's just like such a great mashup of those two genres, you know. And then here you have like this guy's like what's that, Ray Donovan? You know, like he's just a fixer. He's like a fixer for the mob. Yeah, like he goes in and he takes care. He tries to prevent problems from becoming problems because the next people up, they're the ones that take care of the problems, right? So he prevents things from becoming a problem. So he's getting there real early, fixing everything so that it never becomes a problem and gets out of hand. And then a dragon shows up, and there's like some deep lore attached to that as to why a dragon would show up in the first place. And then it just gets wild. Like it's so cool. Like it's a great mashup, very well done.
Who's the publisher?
It's published by Aftershock.
Doesn't Boom do Kaiju Score?
That's an Aftershock book also.
Oh, wow.
And Kaiju Score got optioned, I'm pretty sure. So people are kind of specking on it, but it's got a really cool art style, and like it's just a great mashup of two like disparate genres.
Good stuff. Chris, what other books this week were bangers for you? Great reads. There wasn't really a lot of titles really this week compared to the last couple.
I went through Bunny Mask. I still can't describe that book. I'm still kind of
That is describing the book. That's how you.
I still don't know what's going on.
It's indescribable.
The girl had her teeth pulled as a little girl, died, but yet she's still alive, and the entity that's known as Bunny Mask is now flooding the man that was a part of that. Forget it. Anyways, Mark, I don't know if you read it, but issue 5 of Skybound X.
Yeah, I've read all of them. Just the Rick Grimes 2K though.
Right, where basically we have the super zombie put together, and the fall of Negan, and
it was wild. It was action packed. It was horrific. It was shocking the whole way through. Had a blast.
I like how it ends. How they're basically taken to the stars now, and it's going to be, where they're basically going up to take on the alien race. I like the fact that there's the quiet nod to the end of the original series of The Walking Dead, where we have middle-aged Carl starting to talk about old man Rick and the end of his time. But yeah, I'm really enjoying RG2K, the Rick Grimes story that's a part of the Skybound X. I did not read the other short stories that are in here, even though the 6 sidekicks of Trigger Keaton I am probably going to read when I have a little bit more time.
Does anybody remember? Rick remembers Gigantic. He was kaiju ahead of everyone by 10 years.
I do not.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
Steve, you got any other books from this week you read that you were ecstatic about? Infinite Frontier, yes.
I want to hear your thoughts on this because honestly, I feel like obviously the whole thing is about Darkseid, right? Like the whole thing is. Okay.
I think it's just I
feel like Thomas Wayne is connected in a way that he hasn't shown his cards yet. That's how I feel.
Yeah, for sure. He's there's going to be a bigger deal with him than what we got so far. They kind of teased that in this. Like everyone kept asking, like, why is he around? Why is he here? Blah blah blah.
But I did love that scene where he's looking at all the different Bruce Waynes and all the different worlds, and he's just like, "Son, you were always." Let me see if I can find this. What does he say? Bruce, my son, so many worlds. I didn't beat him. He came back stronger. He has his family with him. I tried to tell you not to be Batman like a foolish and scared old man. That was wrong of me. You were always Batman.
Yeah. Referring back to the Tom King stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
That goes back to the Tom King stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Which, you know my thoughts on that.
I know, but
okay,
callbacks are always great. We're not going on a Tom King rant tonight. We know you love him. We don't need to hear it.
I do like callbacks.
There was some cool reveals in this as well. We got that Machine Head is actually playing his own hand and working with villains across the multiverse, and basically calling them Injustice. He demasked and he looks horrible. And,
you get Magog. You get Yellow Lantern Joker. You get, is that Troya or who is that?
Hold it up. That's Superwoman from the Crime Syndicate. That's Donna Troy, who is Superwoman. She's basically the Wonder Woman of her Earth. You got Dr. Sylvana there. You've got some big Superman symbol throw something. It looks like a big Mongol Superman almost. Yeah. So there's going to be some great action coming out of that. But to be honest with you, I'm not necessarily too excited about all that as much as I am about the underlining plot that you pointed out. Like, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, I think this whole thing is about Darkseid. Because we already know that he's the one, the master player behind all of this.
100%.
They've already teased him. They've already shown him. We know that Psycho Pirate's working for him. We have Crypto he's operating out of. You know that he has Flash there spinning on the wheel pretty much like a gerbil, powering it up. So this whole thing, this whole Infinite Frontier 1 through 6 is the rollout of what's coming. I think that the next time DC does a big event, this Omega level dark side is going to be at the center of it, and this is them rolling him out.
This was cool.
Oh yeah, all the different multiverse trinities.
Yep.
And
From Crisis on Infinite Earths and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Exceptional. This read has been exceptional. And who wrote it? Oh yeah, Williamson.
Yeah,
Love that guy.
I love.
Did you watch that interview the other night?
No. What did he talk about? Where was he?
Whose channel was he on? Oh, Jim Zub's channel.
That's easy to say.
Yeah, I know, right?
Ryan,
I sent the link somewhere.
You sent it in
What'd
the
you say?
rebellion chat. You read Swamp Thing from Future State. Look where we're at right now with Obsidian.
In that big container thing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, that looks familiar.
That'll be interesting.
I didn't realize that Constantine's first appearance was so expensive.
Yeah, Swamp
Oh
Thing.
yeah, that's a big boy book now.
You're talking $700.
What's that?
Talking like a $700 book on like the moderate side.
So Elite Comics, who they're just sellers, and they can put whatever price they want on books, right?
You don't have to
They
discount.
have a 9.8 Swamp Thing 37 for $2,600.
That doesn't sound out of the ballpark though, man.
I don't think that's the ceiling. I think that's a couple $100 off.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I watched that book like a hawk.
Yeah.
I have
Does that have the UPC on it, Steve?
Let me look.
Or is it the direct?
Direct.
Okay.
Yeah, like 9.6s are listed for like 800 and stuff, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. Mark, I'm gonna get out of here, dude. I gotta wake up.
Before you do, I'm about to bounce out of here as well, but I just want to point this out. Were you after Constantine's first appearance?
No.
No.
You guys were talking about Swamp Thing. So.
Look, 9.8, 3750, 3775, 10,000,
book.
9,000. Like, yeah, they're not bad at all, man. Jump on that.
Hey, go ahead.
The price is only going to go up. No better time than now.
Pop.
Yeah, anyways, this is a great time. This went on for a good 2.5 hours. I do have to work tomorrow, and I've had a blast hanging out. I appreciate everybody who's been in the chat with us tonight. Thank you for participating and hanging out with us. There's been a lot of stuff that was fun bouncing around. Thank you to Steve for popping on with us, and as well as Justin from Justin Comics. Be sure to go check out their channels as well. And as always, thank you, Ryan and Chris, for always being here. Appreciate it, Mars. Thank you. We had a blast. And I do have content starting tomorrow. So there'll be some videos coming up. I'm not sure if I'm going to commit to doing like the full-on amount that I typically do, but I'm going to start getting some stuff out and opening some boxes, as well as me and Chris will have a video coming up together in the near future. And looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to that. And until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark, and hold on, let me get this for Ryan. But we are Legion.